What's good, y'all? It's your boy Danza, just one of the many faces of the machine known as the Danza Project. Please do me a favor if you rock with us. Hit that like button, subscribe button, and turn those notifications on. We appreciate you. Salute.
Tell them stop playing with my name, little bitch. I've been in the coffee hoes getting rich. Ride around with them soldiers and you know they never miss. No, they never miss. No, they never miss. Tell them stop playing with my name, little bitch. I've been in the cut just minding my own business. If they want a problem, then I'm down for that
Music.
Usually I always do that. Today we have a very special show. It's your boy Danza.
It's your boy Kato.
This is the Danza Project, and we got my guy Gene Deal in the building.
In the bills, baby.
Yes, y'all.
This is an interview we wanted to happen for quite a while, but today has been a very interesting day in order to get this thing done and for all of us to be here today.
Right.
It's just been, from the news to the day. Basically the traveling, the just life happening, and it's happening right now. But how you feeling today?
Listen, man, another day above ground is a great day.
Air in my lungs. Hello.
So I see a lot. You got, in a sense, you almost got too many interviews. And part of me,
okay,
you got a lot of interviews.
bro.
Yeah, you type.
I got a lot of stories.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
But it seems
Life
also
stories.
But it seems also that you're somebody that people bring up to their platforms a lot to touch on a lot of different stories. One of the guests that we have here a lot is Charleston White, right. And he has, he's constantly doing interviews. One of the things I always ask him, whether it's on air or off air, is how is he feeling? Because it's almost as everybody's trying to pry information out of you, and you don't ever really get to talk about the things that you care about. It's always like, hey, well, what about this? Or what about that? Or what about this? So part of the reason and the things that Kato and I do at the Danza Project is we like to talk to people and get to know who they are.
Personally.
You know what I mean? Instead of just jumping into all the bullshit, per se, So I do see that you are from St. Louis. So talk to us about St. Louis and the upbringing of Gene Deal.
Well, born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, under my grandparents. Didn't know my mother and my father until I met my mother at the age of 12. I met my father at the age of 16. My grandfather, a very strict and stern man, ostracized his own daughter by kicking her out the house because she was pregnant at 15 by a gentleman that was 21 years old. It was my father. Raising girls myself and seeing them at that age, I know I could have never have done that to my daughter, but you got to realize this was in the 60s, and it was a different livelihood, and respect and family respect was big then. So he took me from my mother and he raised me and told anybody if they would help my mother or come around, or if she come around, he would kill them. My grandfather was about 6'5", worked in a coal mine, a Great Lake Coal Company in St. Louis, Missouri. Very strict man. Will beat you into next week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Back in the day, and his wife was the same. Would go tell you to go get you a switch, and if you ain't bring a switch big enough back, they'll whoop you with that and make you go get another one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I came up under very disciplinary, old-fashioned country porch monkey Negroes. I'm just going to be, was superstitious, I call it.
Yeah.
They were so superstitious, man. It was crazy.
So this is from grandparents to your actual parents?
Yeah, this is my grandparents. You know what I'm saying?
But you said you got to meet your parents?
When my grandfather was on his deathbed for having black lung, that's when I met my mother for the first time. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know it was my mother until my Aunt Mandy told me. You know what I'm saying? She said, you don't know who that is? And then I was like, no.
Everybody knew but you.
Yeah, everybody knew what, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Wow. So then boom, so Pops comes to get you and now you're being raised under his virtue.
What do you mean?
Is that how I understood that?
No, my grandfather took me from my mother when I was a baby.
Other way, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And then when he was dying of black lung, then she came around. You understand?
How old were you at this time?
12 years old.
Oh.
I was 12 years old. And I think we were out of school or something like that. And my mother and my Aunt Mandy had came that day because they was coming during the daytime. You know, they was coming during the day, but they didn't know that we were there because it was back in the day. They used to have parent-teachers conference.
Yeah.
And the kids would stay home that day and all the parents would go to school. I don't know if they did that here in Florida or whatever like that. So this particular day, me and my brother stayed home because I had a brother 2 years younger than me. And then my grandfather took from her too. So now we're sitting there in the house. I think I probably was in the 6th grade, 5th or 6th grade, something like that. And they come upstairs. And I just thought that was our cousins. You know what I'm saying, like that?
Yeah, some type of family.
Yeah.
You're not thinking mom.
Yeah, I ain't thinking
mom,
stuff like that. So now they went down to, me and my brother went downstairs when they was upstairs, you know, and then they went and got in the car. And as they would get in the car, my Aunt Mandy always give us money. But it's our first cousin, but I call her Aunt Mandy. Yeah. She always give us money.
You're always looking at.
And she said, I said, oh man, I got all A's and B's. I got A's and B's on my report card and stuff like that. And she said, yeah, stuff like that. And so then she said, my mother was sitting in the back seat. And she was saying, she said, why y'all ain't go to school today? I said, it was parents-teachers conference today. It was parents-teachers conference. And so then I guess she was being smart. She said, Addie Marie, why you ain't go? My mother's name was Addie Marie. She said, why you ain't go? You know what I'm saying? And she said, Mandy, let's go. Yeah. I said, why would she go? And then she said, you don't know who that is? You know what I'm saying? I said, that's cousin Addie or something like that. She said, boy, that's your damn mama. And I was like, my mama? So all the fights I've had over the years with my aunts and my uncles, who I thought was my brothers and my sisters, something would be slipping out. Sometimes it start coming like that. I said, your mama ain't no good. Your mama this, that, and that. Just talking shit about my mama, you know what I'm saying? Because our own father threw her out and everything like that. So I said, you my mama? And then tears just start running down her eyes. Like crazy. Tears just start running down her eyes. And she said, Mandy, let's go. She said, no, tell that boy. And then they just drove off. And I didn't see her again for like a week or two or something like that.
Probably couldn't handle it.
You know what I'm saying? So then...
What went through your mind when she drove off? Like, you're like, oh, this might be my mom. And
I ran upstairs. And then they told me the story. No, that's not your mother. I mean, she told May Laws, which was my grandmother. Yeah. She said, May ain't your mama. That's your grandma. And I was like, it's just f***ed up, you know. Like,
I mean, at that age, how much sense can you really make of that, right?
Well, it was like this. I was wondering why I was getting the beatings and everything like that. And
like, hold on, y'all treat me a little different. I'm the last to get the cereal around here. What's going on?
You know what I'm saying? So it was difficult, but then I had grown too. You know, I had gotten taller, and they really couldn't beat me like they used to. You know what I'm saying? Like I could hold the belt and look at them. Mm-hmm. You know,
I remember that time.
Yeah, I had one of those days. That's why I said that.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it was difficult. Then my grandfather didn't make it, so they didn't want me to stay there. So I went to live with my mother. and she had a new family, just got out of a divorce, and had 2 other kids. So it was easy for me to go there.
Was it difficult for you to kind of get acclimated to your mother and who she was and have conversations with her?
Yes, because she was like, do what I say, or she had that, don't ask no questions. I had a lot of questions and everything like that. And I didn't understand that until I became a grown man and I started dating women that were my mother's age at the time. And they had kids. So, and they had no good fathers or whatever like that. And you start taking care of another man's child and you start being with women who was the same age as your mother when you met them. My mother was 28 years old, 27, 28 years old.
When you were 12?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you know what my mother was a beautiful woman. So it looked like, you know what a 27-year-old woman go through, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, guys trying to get at her and everything like that. So, you know, I didn't understand her plight until I got older. And I was dating women. That's why I felt like I was always over protective of relationships that I had with women that had kids. Because I never wanted to feel like that type of dude that I'm going to just misuse your mother, do wrong by your mother, and forget about you as a kid. That's why I can say, without knocking on wood, every kid that I came into and had a relationship with their mother, they still have respect for me, and they still love me as a surrogate father. You know, that was important to me. You know, so to get back in my childhood, it was rough because, you know, I fought my mother boyfriends. You know what I'm saying?
You must have been a big boy too.
I wasn't that big at the time. I had a growth spurt, but like I couldn't afford to take karate. So this dude named Cedric Malone,
Neighborhood cat.
yeah, neighborhood dude. They had a lot of money. He was a black belt in karate. So I used to help him with his chores, and he would teach me karate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that work out for everybody.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I would help him, whether he had to cut grass, Riker. He'd take me in his garage, teach me karate. Then this dude named Benny Smith, who was a Golden Glove fighter out of St. Louis, Missouri, out of DeSoto Fighting Club. He was a boxer. So I went to the Salvation Army and I learned how to box. Real, you know, pretty good. Whereas that I actually beat up the neighborhood bully when I was 16 years old, a dude named Patrick Cotton. Anybody from St. Louis, Wellston area knew Patrick Cotton was one of those Debo dudes before there was Debo. You know what I'm saying? And one day at the Salvation Army, tore his ass up.
Put the beats on him.
You know what I'm saying? Put a beat on him.
Shout out to you,
So,
Pat.
you know what I'm saying? So me and my mother boyfriend got into it pretty bad. And she was like, yo, I love you, I love him. You know what I mean? Like that. And I told him, you know, like, yo, listen here. If y'all can't get along, you know, I'm not kicking my son out. You understand? Y'all just gonna have to work it out. We never could work it out. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not gonna tell me what to do, or you're not gonna, you know, what I can't and cannot do. You know, I took enough ass whoopings when I was little. You not whooping me, you not disciplining me because you're having a relationship with my mother. You know what I'm saying? You know, it was that type of situation. And I wasn't hanging with good dudes at the time. I was hanging with dudes that was in the street, the White Walls, Danny Bean, Robert Gates, old man. And they wasn't good dudes. They were in the street, you know what I'm saying? So until I start getting good in basketball, changed the different people I start hanging with. I start hanging with guys who played ball, and they were doing good. And that's what changed my life.
What about your dad in all of this? Was he around?
I turned 17 years old. In 1981, I left the state of Missouri in rebounding. I started getting a lot of, attention.
Yeah.
For the first time, the school had a championship season, and we won conference in the whole 9 yards. Going into my senior year, I won I won rebounding again. You know what I'm saying? Getting a lot of college offers and stuff like that. And now my mother was singled, and all these college coaches would come and try to talk to my mother, you see it like that. And I told her, like, listen, man, I'm not going to school. I'm not doing none of that shit. I said, I ain't going to school. And she said, why? I said, because I'm doing something that I know nobody in your family done, and I want to know why. And so we were riding a bus, and this shit is crazy, man. And we were riding a bus because we had to go downtown for some reason. And she had a Riviera, a 76 Riviera, and it was broken or something like that. So we had to get on the bus at the Holdeman track. And we got on the bus, and my mother went first. And because my mother told me my father was dead. Your daddy dead, boy, get out of here. He died in the army and shit like that, stuff like that. That old bullshit. So my mother got on the bus first. And then I came on the bus. And then I was like, Mom, I ain't put no money in there. You ain't put no money in the bus then. She said, boy, get on this damn bus. And the bus driver looked at me and said, God damn, boy, you look just like your daddy.
Wow.
And I was like, you know my daddy? I said, you knew my daddy?
Yeah, because
he was like, know your daddy. I get my haircut from his ass every Saturday.
Damn.
And she said, Abner, shut up.
Everybody know everybody.
And I was like, so now I ain't got no conversation from my mother. I said, why you lie about my father? Why you lie about my father? All these years, why you ain't tell me who my father was? And she was like, if he wanted to know who you was, he knew where you was at. So now I told my high school coach, you know what I'm saying? And they knew my father. And he talked to my mother, and my father came to one of my basketball games. We was playing Lovejoy in Illinois. This is the first time our school ever beat them. They had Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders played in the pros. And at half, I was going down the middle during halftime, and I dunked on him, right? And he fell, and I just stood over and started pointing at him like
you
that.
dunked over Barry Sanders?
Yeah.
Oh,
7 foot Barry Sanders. Yeah. Huh? 7-footer. Yeah.
What Barry Sanders was a 7-footer, you're saying?
Yeah, Barry Sanders, the basketball player. If you look at
I thought you were talking about the football player.
No, Barry Sanders. Barry Sellers. It was Sellers or Sanders. He played at Louisville because I played against them again in 84 and 85 in the NIT. And they beat us by 6 points. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But dunked on his ass. So then ran to the locker room. We came back and we won. And then my father came and he said, yo, hey, what's going on? I was introduced to my father after the game.
And you didn't know it was your father?
I didn't know it was my father. Yeah. I didn't know it was my father. He said, hey, man, your mother told you want to meet me. I'm Wendell. You know what I'm saying? I want to know, can I come get you this weekend? And then we'll talk. You know, I said, yeah, okay. And then this girl named Margaret Haynes ran up to me. She said, Gene, I didn't know Wendell was your father. He used to run the rec center. And I was like, oh, yeah. That's like I knew all that.
That's my pops. Right.
Yeah, I was like, I ain't no shit. Yeah. So he drove me out to Troy, Missouri, where he had a farm with a lot of horses at it. Nigga had horses, had a big house. He was raised Catholic. And they had money, come from a good family and everything like that. And then, he told me, said, listen to me, man, I ain't never neglected none of my responsibilities. But your mother didn't tell me that she was pregnant and that you was my son. So then when you get older, you find out what's going on, what's the truth. You know, she probably didn't tell you because you probably didn't tell her that you was married in 21.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Two sides to every
Two sides of every story. So, you know what I'm saying? So, her being ostracized by her father, you know, then dealing with a dude that was engaged or married, it wasn't a good situation for nobody. But because it's so crazy that I'm named after the doctor because my mother didn't have a name to give to me.
Damn.
Wow. You know what I'm saying? The doctor name was Eugene Taylor. So this 15-year-old girl who was thrown out by her father, who decided to have this kid, you understand, named me after the doctor because she had nobody in her life. So I'm just glad and just praise God that I'm here today. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's why I spent a lot of my life, you know, helping brothers and helping people, you know what I'm saying? Doing what I do and doing what I did for a living. So I got big in basketball, went through that whole HBCU basketball school thing at Alcorn State University, Alabama. Hated every minute of it and decided to go to the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. You know what I'm saying? I stopped after my first year at Alcorn, and then I tried Alabama State. I said, nah, I ain't going there, just like this. So then I went to JUCO circuit, played at Jefferson, was JUCO All-American in the Midwest in 83, 84. Had scholarships from a lot of different places. I was supposed to go play in Oklahoma with Wayman Teasdale, and it was Harvey and Horace Grant. But we played together at a JUCO tournament in Anderson Junior Colleges in South Carolina. And I said, I ain't going with them. Both of them 6'10", I'm 6'7". You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, one shoot from the outside, one shoot from the inside. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They gonna play them because they twins and everything like that. Yeah. But the coach was trying to convince me to come. I'm nah, bro. I went to play with Gerald Wilkins, if you ever heard of him. He was Dominique Wilkins' little brother. Okay. He played for the New York Knicks. You know what I'm saying? I went to play with him. I won 2 Southern Conference championships. Was second leading scorer, second leading rebounder. Had an average from the floor of 60%. Was the enforcer. Mm-hmm.
So you were a baller, a real baller.
I did pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Left school, got my degree in literature and American language with a minor in pre-law. Ended up being a New York State parole officer, played at the basketball circus, the Pro-Am in New York, and also played in all the tournaments, the Ruckers, the Kingdomes, the West 4th Street tournaments, all that. Yeah. Got known in basketball, got known in the streets of New York from starting 2 crews, the same gang, and Slick and the Family. Same gang first, that's the one that Puff Always, the dude, Sean Combs, Puff became a part of. Just did my thing and raised my family, and so whatever.
So what was the gateway drug into security? Somebody just say, "Hey man, got opportunity for you."
No,
pick up a shift here and there.
No, not at all. I learned security in St. Louis because we had a crew called Future Shock Music Productions, and then I went to Dynamite Disco that was in U City. And what is that I was also a DJ, but I was the biggest dude there, so I had to, you know,
double that security.
Do security too, you know, on the doors.
Hey, do me a favor, help me carry this.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we did that shit, and then when I got to New York, and we started the same gang with ASAP Ferg father. It was ASAP Ferg, Mike Owens, his name, Mike Cock, Rick Dog, Tone Wop. They did a song about Tone Wop, do the Tone Wop, Tone Wop, Tabadoo, me. We all was at St. John's Cathedral, and we started a crew called the Same Gang, and then we just brought a lot of people in it. And the crews in New York was like party crews. You get parties, you get boat rides, you do all this stuff like this, stuff like that.
Fly shit.
Yeah, real fly shit. You dress, you try to go outdress the next crew and shit like that.
Man, crews was a thing. I don't mean gang.
Yeah.
I mean a crew, like your squad, like let's roll.
Yeah.
Like this the squad. You might give it a name.
This was in the 80s?
This is in 89. We started that in 89. Yeah. You know, so now we the fly, some of the fly was fly cats, you know what I'm saying? We some of the flies cats that go in there, we party, we dancing, we having a great time. You know, some of those guys were street entrepreneurs. Some of those guys worked cable companies, for the gas company, for correction officers, parole officers, school teachers, all that. But we was a crew. We, you know, something like that. That's how we got down. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was not everybody in the same gang sold drugs, but the guys saying sell drugs, some guys did. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna never see them do that because they don't do that around us. When we get together, we party and having fun. You know what I'm saying? That's it. So, started that crew and left that crew, started another crew with just got slick in the family. And, you know, because here I am again, one of the biggest dudes around there, so I'm doing the security. So when Puff came in there, he was having problems because he was doing parties at a place called The Building in the Red Zone. And D. Ferg, he was the one who designed that cat for Uptown
We're in
Records.
St. Louis or New York? No.
We're in New York now. Okay. You want to go back to St. Louis?
No. I'm following the story. I'm just making sure everybody else is following it too. Yeah.
D. Ferg is Ferg's pops.
D. Ferg is A$AP Ferg's pops. Right. You know what I'm saying?
I just caught on to that story a little while ago.
Yeah.
So,
he designed that cat for Uptown Records, and he designed the Bad Boy.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
the chain and the hat, baby. With
His father had one of the biggest clothing shops in Harlem where people used to actually come and steal his designs and mass produce them.
Wow.
D. Ferg was the first dude who you ever seen those football jackets had everybody, all the team names on the arms and stuff like that? Yeah. He designed that.
Wow.
But he had Ferg 54 all over the arms, all over the jackets and stuff like that. Then our guys would take a picture of his things in the window and go mass produce that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Legendary.
Yeah.
That's an interesting story, those guys.
Huh?
That little part is an interesting story.
Right.
Between the pops and all that.
Right. So, you know, I was the one who had the credentials so I can get the boats, the halls, you know, sign the things for the block parties and stuff like that. So I became known doing that. So then when Puff joined in 90, he was having problems at the Red Zone and the Building. So D. Ferg asked me, yo, man, Gene, watch out for Puff, you know, stuff like that. So that's how that part came up, doing security. And then this dude named Tim Dog, not the rapper Tim Dog, but the producer who had the Lost Boys. You ever heard the Lost Boys?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the guy who produced them and managed their whole thing, he was doing parties with this crew called Butt Naked. The crew called Butt Naked. They had a crew.
That was Diddy's crew?
Huh?
That was Diddy's crew?
He was a part of it, but he wasn't a part of it. You understand? Because he reaped benefits from them, and I don't mean booty benefits or nothing like that. What I mean is that the dudes who was in Butt Naked, they were actually entrepreneurs, but they were street hustlers too.
Right.
Now, this how this become important because Suge Knight just mentioned one of the dudes' name on a show last week.
Oh, man.
Corey Jacobs.
Okay.
Corey Jacobs, Big Lamont, Anthony Wolf Jones. You understand? Yeah. Those are the three guys who ran Butt Naked. You understand? Two of those guys got 9 16-to-life sentences for drug trafficking.
Damn.
Ooh.
You know,
they hit him with everything.
Right, 9 16-to-life drug trafficking. Anthony Wolf Jones didn't get it. He went to trial because the guys didn't know him and never saw him. They couldn't point him out, and he won the case. Now, Suge Knight just mentioned Corey Jacobs, because Corey Jacobs was the financee of Bad Boy, because Puff wouldn't have ran Bad Boy if Corey wouldn't have never went to jail. It would have been Corey Jacobs.
Oh, wow.
I got pictures, and I can show you pictures on the internet where you see Corey and Pac right next to each other. You understand?
Man.
Sarah Puff baby mama? What's her name? Sarah. What's Sarah?
How many babies mamas he's got? I thought it was just
No, he got 4 baby mamas.
oh damn.
But Sarah, what's Sarah?
Let me see.
Chapman.
Sarah Chapman. Thank you, sir. I don't know how I forgot that. Sarah Chapman was Corey's girl first, before she was even Pac's girl.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? Then she ended up being Puff's girl on a bet. So,
Damn.
so now I'm telling that story because that's how intricate Corey was. He was Bad Boy. You understand? But he was using Puff as the front man. You know what I'm saying?
Go out there, do your thing. Go
You know
promote.
You go promote Dylan. And then he had got that 9/16 in life sentence, and he went on the run. So he went on the run for years.
Oh yeah, I see that. The 16 life sentences.
You ever pop back up or nobody heard nothing
No,
from
we used to see Corey all the time.
him? On the run?
On the run.
You're a bad dude. I'm surprised he ain't in Costa Rica somewhere.
Corey is coming, and you see them give him a paper bag, and that was it. She out again.
Go, there's your
You know
contribution.
what I'm saying? So
And that so now you're intertwined with all of that. But you pursued a career in law enforcement around that time?
yes, sir. I was in '91. I became a New York State parole officer. You understand? And I still was doing security at the parties and the housing complexes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Is that something that you wanted to stick to?
Well, the money was just so lucrative, brother. You know, like I can make anywhere from $1,700 to $7,000 a night at the door. Just because guys so important, they didn't want to wait in line.
Right.
And back there in New York and stuff like that. Just say I was in Cancun, and it's your place. You ever been to Cancun? There's a place called Daddy-O's.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And every Memorial Day weekend, people used to flood out there. It'd be 300,000 black people in Cancun. Yo, it was enough people to make like 10 Tarzan movies. You know what I'm saying? So now we're out there, and I had this one guy come out there. His name was Mikey F. He was from Philly. The police killed him in a random shooting or something like that. But he was a big hustler, and he had 3 guys with him. He gave me $1,500 just to jump the line.
Damn.
When
That sounds like some shit I'd do.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because he didn't want to wait on line.
Yeah.
You understand? And I had a lot of guys like that. But Anthony Wolf Jones put me up on game. You know what I'm saying? He said, yo, Gene, let me put you up on something, bro. He said, next time I see you on the security line, be as fly as you can. And I said, what you mean, bro? He said, yo, dog, you could get money. Watch this. Let me show you how to do it. He showed me how to work the door one time. Guys would come up there and, yo, Wolf, I don't want to wait online. He said, well, what you got then? He said, he's someone, what I got to give you? He said, if you got to ask, you can't afford it. You understand? So guys will give you $200-300 just to jump the line, and they still got to pay $50 to $100 at the door.
Yeah, plus table, plus.
No, they wasn't doing tables back then, bro.
Yeah, I was going to ask you,
that's
if you
bull.
could paint the picture for how the party scene was back in the day. Because, like, now people run around with their cameras. They don't dance no more. They don't do shit. What was it like back in the heyday?
You couldn't take pictures. If you came in there with a fucking camera, only one could come in the camera is Alex, and somebody he got a Spanish name, I forgot his name, to the stars. It's Jose something, something to the stars. Those two guys were the only people who lied in the camera, and they asked you if they could take pictures of you and your crew.
But they designated.
Yeah.
Wasn't no camera phone.
No camera phones, no camera, nobody, no
They ain't even have
Polaroids,
camera
nothing
phones.
like
They ain't had them regular camera phones.
No, not like this.
Right.
We had them big ass bricks.
Yeah,
and shit like that. Niggas
over the shoulder.
Suitcases. Suitcases.
So at a party back then, people came to party. It wasn't,
Oh my God, man. Yo, you can get a girl pregnant on the floor, man. That's how hard you dance with them and everything like that, man. It was fun, bro. So it was none of that, the pictures and all that. Like, nah, it was none of that stuff like that. And VIP was wherever you stood.
Right, because Kato was talking about the bottle service and all that shit.
Yeah.
And back then, there wasn't none of that.
Yeah, VIP was wherever you stood. Like if you was this part of the bar, you had your bottles right there. Boom. You that part of the bar. If you had a little table, chill, you flood your stuff like your cruise around and stuff like that. All that table service, and then listen, man. I used to do security at some of the top clubs. Check this shit out. This is shit used to be so crazy to me. This is a line that separate this party, and they call this side the club with VIP. People on this side will be standing looking at the VIP people because they want to be on that side instead of making a party on this side. And all that separated was a rope. But they called that side VIP. And they was charging niggas an extra $100 to get on that side. Which was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, this shit is out of my mind. Who started this shit, man? How did they brainwash people like this?
Entrepreneur somewhere.
But it's being connected to the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what everybody wanted to be.
But it's crazy, man, because if you start and your crew start having fun over here with the bottles and stuff like that, and the girls is coming around here, the people in VIP gonna want to come over there where it's free.
Yeah,
that's true.
But they got access. They got full blown access to get on the other side. Yeah.
And I've seen that happen. I've seen that done plenty of times. You know what I'm saying? I used to work at Sue's Rendezvous, one of the biggest strip clubs in New York. That's where Cardi B came from. That's where Amarose, Gypsy, Major Galore, all those girls that people know from the industry came from Diana, China. All those people came from. You know what I'm saying? So seeing that part.
So when did this cross over into you working full time with Diddy, and did you want to do that at the time?
But see, I never worked full time for Diddy. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people don't realize. You know what I'm saying? Diddy had 6 other bodyguards. You understand? I had his family days, but at first when we started off, I was the dude who was, at the red zone, at the building and stuff like that. Then after that City College tragedy in 91, I said, man, I ain't fucking with this cat. You know what I'm saying? Because I told him before he had hired me and my crew, 18 guys, to come and do the City College thing. And then that same day, he canceled us out. Whereas they say, yo, Gene, I only need 8 guys. And he lied. And he had got the Nation of Islam to do it cheaper than my price. You understand? And 9 kids died that night. And when I got to the place, I say, yo, Puff, if they don't secure that front door, it's going to be people going to die here tonight. You understand? Gene, just let them take care of that. And you go downstairs and take care of the stars and stuff. So I just said, okay, bro. All right, whatever. So then that's what happened. It was a stampede and 9 kids died that night, suffocated in the stairway. So I stopped dealing with them until they had that problem with Suge Knight. And Wolf came to me and he asked me would I be down with them because a situation happened with us one time and he really wanted me on the team. So I went back, he said, you got your own contract, you understand, and all you got to do is travel with Puff. You know what I'm saying? And then they had to let me know in advance. And back then, those days, Puff was only going places on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays and stuff like that. And that's when he was traveling out of town or whatever. So I would do those days that he was going out of town traveling. And then after Big died, I stopped dealing with him for another year. So, you know, I went from 95 to 97, and then I stopped dealing with him for a year. And then went back to him, and I started dealing with him from the end of 98, end of 98, beginning of 99, and I stayed with him till about 2004.
When you say stop dealing with him, was this like a falling out, or was it just like, oh, you don't need me right now?
No, it was never falling out. With the big thing, it was like...
Everything needed to cool down.
No, he was upset with me, and I was upset with him that he didn't listen to me. He was upset that I talked to Ms. Wallace, Big's mother. You know what I'm saying? And somebody had told him, like Gene, I think Leote told him, yo, Gene called her asking for his money after Big got killed. And it was no situation like that. Arista had sent me Texas, and I didn't know I was being paid by Arista. You understand? I had my own contract with Puff. I always got my money from Bad Boy. But when we went out to California that time, Puff sent the invoice to Arista. You know what I'm saying? On Big's them contract. You understand?
Yeah.
And so Arista never had my information.
To pay.
You understand?
Right.
Yeah.
So when Arista called me up, like, yo, does Gene deal with stuff? I said, yeah, shit, we need your social security number. Because they was doing the shit the right way.
Yeah.
And you know the other way.
Yep.
We can't say that because we know we got these, it's way years ago, you know what I'm saying? Way back then, you know what I'm saying? You was, somehow some numbers came up missing from your social security number, so you never got You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the Bad Boy way. But the Arista way, you had to have everything straight.
You get that 1099 up off you.
Yeah, because they was checking that shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So Arista, so I called Bad Boy, like, yo, why is Arista calling me for my social security number? Because that's the only way you're going to get paid out there for that trip in Cali. Because I was Puff's bodyguard then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've always been Puff bodyguard. And they always called me, like, just say, like, y'all at the party. And it's gotten kind of unruly. They think like it's some dudes that is a problem, is a situation. Puff had some security stuff like that. But Puff would call Paul and say, yo, Paul, where Gene at? You understand? And then I would, yo, what's going on? Yo, Gene, Puff want to know, can you come down here and stuff like that? He wants you to come down to the club. I say, I'm going to get paid for the whole 10 hours. You know what I'm saying? Because you get 10 hours and then everything after 10 hours. Yeah, you're going to get paid for the whole 10 hours. So clubs close at 4. You're going to go out. If you're going to go get something to eat, you're going to be back in the house about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get paid for the whole 10 hours. That's $650. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm going to get out my bed
go ahead and get down
and
there.
go down there. You understand?
Yeah.
And what you call? So when they was going to parties like that, they felt a certain kind of way, he would call me. This is in the early days, you know what I'm saying, like that. So now, when he gave like parties, or he went to parties or something like that at the weekend, or he gave functions and stuff like that, I was always the one who ran the door because I knew everybody. I knew the hustler, the gangsters. I knew the guys who was in the industry and everything like that. I knew everybody. I knew the pimps, all that. You understand? I knew Bishop Don Juan. I knew this dude, what's his name, from D.C., Dwayne from D.C. I knew the dude from Detroit. I knew all their faces and everything like that. So I knew who should be waiting online and who shouldn't be waiting online. And the only person he ever made me wait online was Russell Simmons, Chris Lighting, and Steve Stout. He always wanted to come get them himself.
Oh, I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So when they were paying you, was that like a company thing? They were paying your company, or they were paying just Gene Deal?
Well, you work for the IRS or something, man? What's going on here?
No, because
The fuck is going on here?
because I was thinking like it sounds like it was when they have to get that many, if somebody else involved, it sounds like it's your own crew that they were paying.
No, see, you got to realize is that all the clubs always have their thing.
Yeah.
I had a personal contract with Puff.
Yeah.
I was getting paid directly out of Puff budget whenever I'm around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's just because, like, for a businessman, right? Like, to pawn it off on somebody else, be like, you pay this. They usually have to pay the companies and stuff like that. But he obviously made moves to sit there and be like, boom, you take care of this and you take care of this.
I think that sometimes, like with that California thing, Arista paid us, and I didn't know we was getting paid out of. I was getting paid out of Arista budget because I never got paid out of Arista budget.
Yeah.
I got paid out of Puff personal budget. That's why I knew Derek is financial chief advisor. You know what I'm saying? I never got paid out of. You know, Derek have our check every Thursday.
Was that one of the more difficult? Would you call that one of the more difficult days of your career working with Puff?
What's that?
The Biggie situation,
man. When you pull somebody out the car after they've been murdered, you can't get no rougher than that, bro.
Yeah, that's something you take on with you for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
You can't really.
When you
that.
actually tell them, if we go to this party, somebody gonna die. You can't get no rougher than that, bro. You know what I'm saying? When you've been warned and you done told everybody in the room, yo, listen here, y'all. If we step outside the door, when someone's gonna die, ain't nothing that's gonna come back. And then, Gene, go ahead with that bullshit, man. You know, with that cop shit and all that. And then we step outside the door and 2 people die. It's hard to come back. And especially when it's somebody with the statue. Not saying that our lives is not as important,
right.
But somebody life like Big, where you're gonna always hear his music till you die.
Yeah.
When you gonna always see somebody with a T-shirt on till you die. When you're gonna always hear stories about how great he is until you die. That goes along with you a long way, brother.
Oh yeah.
What gave you the inkling something so terrible could or would go wrong?
Well, first of all, it's the East Coast, West Coast war.
Prime.
Which was, and I've been on stage with Big a lot of times.
Right.
You understand? Well, Puff to tell me, yo, Gene, don't worry about me. Go make sure Big is all right on stage. You know what I'm saying? So I'm on stage, and you got motherfuckers throwing shit up there. You got something like that. You just said whole 9 yards. Sometimes you're on stage, and it's just, you think it's just great because there's more people in there that love them that don't. But you still see the guys inside. In the clubs after the parties, you see guys, you know, hating.
Standing around.
Then you hear shit, and then I know street guys and everything like that. And there's one particular time when we was out of California, you know, when I went out there, you know, I was young, dumb, full of cum. You didn't know no better. But, you know what I'm saying, if I start crying, what the baby gonna do? You know, kids need milk. Kids need clothes. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm still working good, but, you know, you got to realize, dog, for 2-3 days of work, you getting $2,200 tax-free dollars.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So that goes a long way. So I'm like this. I get a call from Unique, this guy on YouTube now. God is, yo, man, listen to me. Our God does his shit the way he want to, when he want to, and how he want to.
Every time.
You understand? You know, Unique called me from the jail that they got El Chapo in.
Okay.
And he didn't call me directly. He called a girl named Dawn Farrow. Had me on a 3-way call. Back then, the 3-way call would automatically drop from prison.
Yeah.
You understand? So I'm on the phone with Dawn, and Dawn said, hold on, Gene. And then all I hear is somebody say, vest up. You know what I'm saying? And so the phone hung up. And I said, Dawn, who's that? She said, that's Unique. Unique from Mecca Audio? Because Unique was one of the biggest drug dealers in Harlem. That had a crew called Mecca Audio that used to give rap, like, you know how to battle rap shit?
Yeah.
He used to do that shit on the block and just throw $5,000 up in the air. You know what I'm saying?
Go crazy.
Like if you won, he'll throw $5,000 up on your side. And then come back, you go to the store and give you $5,000.
Fly.
You understand?
Yeah.
Like whoever was the winner, Unique could throw $5,000 to this side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So everybody knowing that, everybody hot.
And then you come out and get him and say, yo, you could perform at Club 2000. So that guy get to perform at Club 2000 because he owned a club called Club 2000. So me and Unique was mad cool back in the day as far as we used to put these other names on the flyers. You understand? You know, special invited guests, Unique and Mecca Audio. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they crew could come to our parties, our crew go to their party, especially invite guests, Slick in the Family, Big Gene, Slick in the Family, stuff like that. So now, Unique told Dawn that he heard that we was out in Cali and told us to warn him because some dudes was in jail talking about they was gonna kill us. So Dawn told me, I told Kirk Burroughs we needed more security. I told Puff, I told Big, I told Big Crew, and we ended up going to that party anyway. But Puff told me not to go. That's the shit is crazy. Like, I went to talk, I said, yo, Puff, if we go to the party, somebody gonna come up dead tonight. And he was like, well, Gene, you ain't gotta go. So as far as I know, I'm your only security. Why you saying I ain't gotta go?
Heard.
So I called back to the block, I called people, and they ended up going to the party anyway. And that's the night Big lost his life.
And a lot was made, I know recently, Mase talking about security hiding, and you've actually lashed back out at them. What do you have to say to like the naysayers out there that, because, you know, that's just Mase or, there's my kids.
You want to go check on them?
Yeah, let me go check on them real quick.
All right, so yeah, real quick, when we talk about that, we was talking earlier, you were saying that at one point Puff had the ability to avert some of the East Coast, West Coast shit. Maybe you could explain that a little better?
Well, you know, when, you know, at this time, but we were just talking about Pac is dead, but prior to, before Pac died, you know, Suge Knight and them was starting what they call Death Row East.
Right, I remember that, yeah.
The president of Death Row East wasn't going to be Tupac. The president was going to be Eric B.
That makes
Eric B.
sense.
Rakim,
And Craig Mack was going to be their first artist.
Wow.
You understand?
Wow, that would have been interesting to see that.
So he was going to leave Bad Boy to go to Death Row East?
He was already left Bad Boy.
Okay.
He hadn't been with Bad Boy for 2 years. You understand? A year or two. Him and Big didn't like him and all. It was a bunch of bullshit, in-house bullshit.
Right.
So Craig Mack was going to be their first, you know, it was going to be Big D, Eric B, and Craig Mack. Big D was a dude that was big in the streets in Harlem, Queens, New York, period.
Right.
Good dude. You understand what I'm saying? Solid brother, was respected in and out the streets, the prison system, the whole 9 yards.
What's up, Mike?
Hey!
What's up? What's up, dude?
Michael always has to come say hi.
Fist bump, G. Oh, gonna be a boxer.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
With the presidential. One thing I always ask myself, I got a lot of friends that do like a lot of executive protection type work. At any point, do you come to terms with the fact that I might have to put my life on the line for this guy or these people? Is that a real thing, or you just kind of put it in the back of your mind like that ain't gonna happen?
Man, listen here, man. Failure to prepare is preparing to fail. You understand?
Prevention the best.
Nothing beats an ambush. You always on point. You always on ready. You understand?
When you out of state, out of lines, kind of on the other side, it's like not so much is under my control. You know, so like going out there, that risk is always going to be enhanced. It's more exposure when you out of town, right?
Yeah, but still in all, I don't know, man, but I never went out of my house not thinking it couldn't happen.
Right.
Even today.
Right.
I don't think I'm not the type of guy that, you know, like, just say when I go out on dates, I've been out on dates with people and stuff like that, and I'm like this. And then a girl might walk by And you so disrespectful. Why you always? If you notice, I'm always looking.
I'm holding it down.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't understand. It can happen at any time at anybody.
That's a fact.
I don't care who it is. And people, you got to be. You know, it's sad that you have to live like that during your time. But when you've been in law enforcement and you've been in security, it is what it is.
Right.
You understand? And I just lived like that. But to get back to what you were saying,
Yeah, the Death Row East. Yeah.
the Death Row East Coast thing was it was going to be a legitimate. And Eric B came out and talked about it and said yes. He said the same thing that I said. But prior to that is that Eric Von Zip had called Puff when we were in California, and Suge Knight and all them was in New York, and they wanted to squash the East Coast, West Coast beef shit.
And again, this is before Pac's death.
Before Pac's death. You understand? Puff got a call from Haitian Jack.
Yeah, infamous.
You know what I'm saying? Haitian Jack. And Haitian Jack could attest to this. He called Zip back and said, y'all making me look bad because all them was partying with Suge Knight and the Death Row people at the Mirage and different places and stuff like that. You understand? So Zip was telling him, man, we trying to squash this bullshit and everything like that.
Right.
Just give me or you send somebody, you understand, the right to speak for you so we can squash this shit.
Right.
And everything like that. Puff wouldn't give him that right.
Damn. So yeah, members from the East, members from the West, and all they wanted to do was bring Puff along to sit down and make sure everything was cool, and he ain't want to do it.
He didn't want to do it. He thought he was going to owe somebody something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
He didn't want to get into that.
So do you think, because you know how the theory goes, do you think that Puff was looking to benefit from Big not being there, maybe had something to deal with it, or was just turning a blind eye and figured that, just he was too big for that to happen to him?
Bro, I can't speak for what another man could think or what another man may know. I can only speak from what I know and what I believe. And I didn't see that at that time.
Yeah. Man.
So, poor judgment and your guys and your guests. If you had to guess, like,
You can't say poor judgment because I can't speak for another man's thought process. You understand? But would I have either made it or would I have sent somebody that was at like mind as myself and understood like myself? Wolf was in the city. He wasn't in California with us. You know, at the time, it was just me and Puff. You understand? He was shooting that billboard, I think, that billboard thing. It was either Billboard or either, what's the other big magazine at the time?
Source.
No. The other big white magazine. It was Billboard and
Rolling Stone.
Rolling Stone.
Okay. There we go.
You know what I'm saying? Thank you. You know what I'm saying?
I love how he goes,
Oh man.
You know, you say this is a show, we gotta keep it 100. Like, act like you act, talk like you talk. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, he could have sent Wolf.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Wolf would have made sure that everything was, copacetic, whereas that nobody was giving up nothing, nobody had to do nothing and stuff like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Obviously, with everything that has transpired, what we had in front of us today was a huge day with the Diddy trial and them mentioning that, and I don't know much about it. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm the most informed of the trial. I try to focus on everything in my life, my children, my family, my business, and things of that nature. But I do hear it, right? But today was a big day with, I believe the verdict was reached on 4 or 5 counts.
Yeah. But let's get back to what you said before you left. I think that I know this is your show and everything, but you said something about the Mase thing. Yeah, I really want to address that.
Okay, I thought
about the issue.
Perfect. I thought you talked about it. That's why.
No, we didn't.
Okay,
because he came with another question, then he came with another question.
Okay, perfect.
Outside of what you want to do, but I don't want to not get to your question.
Absolutely, like that. I appreciate that.
And I know this is your show, sir, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
You know what I just want.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
I get so much flack from that. You understand? You know, like, why did you take the gun from D-Rock? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? The whole 9 yards. If you allow me to walk you through it, you know, before Big got murdered, you know what I'm saying, then I would like to do that if it's okay
Absolutely,
with you.
Yes.
All right. So,
turn the mic over a little bit so it's like you could point it. Yep, there you go.
All right. So now when we were up in the club, right? We were up in the club and everything like that, and the fire department get ready to shut down the building, you know, stuff like that. So when the fire department come, I'm thinking, we are sitting ducks if we go outside and wait for the cars to come to us. You understand? It's a crowd of people. Motherfuckers can run up in the crowd. Pow! What people gonna do? They're gonna scatter. Everybody. You understand? Something like that. So now I say to myself, you understand? Let me go and put the trucks downstairs. You understand what I'm saying? You know, that particular time I had 3 weapons. I gave Paul a weapon when we was at the house. Paul is the head of security, Green Gate Security, stuff like that. So I gave him one of my weapons and everything like that when we was at the house, before we left the house. So now I got a weapon on my side, I got one on my ankle. You know, your weapon on your ankle is your last resort. You know what I'm saying? If you run out at the top, you understand, like that, and you're in a situation, you go to your ankle. You know what I'm saying? So now, I give Big's man, D-Rock, Brooklyn guy, one of my guns. And I say, yo, watch Big. I'll be right back. You understand? I didn't want to leave them naked or nothing like that. You understand? So I say, watch Big. And I know Paul got a gun, and they got the other security up there, but I'm telling D-Rock, because that's his man. Watch Big, I'll be right back. I run downstairs, make sure the cars is in front. So as soon as we go out, we go straight to the cars, and we can get out of there.
Be out of there.
You understand? That's something security minded. You don't wait for nobody. We never, ever waited for anybody at any time when we was in New York City. Why the hell are we doing it in California? So now, I come back upstairs. I get my weapon from D-Rock, put it back on my side. That's my weapon. You understand? I didn't know if D-Rock had a gun or not. That's not for me to know. You understand? If you know we're going out to California and your man got beef, because you know he got beef, because Big had said, I don't know why y'all letting them dog pound niggas and pocking them over there shooting a video in Red Hook, and they van go get shot up. So if you think California niggas or guys are gonna let you come to California after you done put that type of energy out there and not do nothing, these niggas fight over colors. You done shot up they Winnebago and everything. You think ain't nothing gonna happen? Why would you come out there and you don't have nothing but just for the sake of things, not knowing, not caring? I just gave him my weapon and just said, yo, watch Big. So when I come back, any thinking, man, what they gonna do? They gonna get their gun back. Especially from a Brooklyn nigga.
Yeah, let me get my piece back, bro.
Especially from a Brooklyn nigga. This is the flag, and this is what, yo, why you got ignorant guys on the internet, why you take the gun back from D-Rock? Well, why D-Rock didn't have his own gun? I don't know if D-Rock had a gun or not. I didn't care. I'm just looking out because I'm leaving Big and them upstairs with them. So when we get back downstairs, we all get in the car. Come on, let's go. Puff like, yo, hold up. He going around getting girls. Yo, Gene, like he was doing upstairs. Remember her for the pool party tomorrow. Remember her from the pool party tomorrow. Remember that from the pool party tomorrow. Just bringing girls to Big and bring girls up to me. I'm like, what? We never did that shit before. So we line up on the sidewalk. When we line up on the sidewalk, that's when this Muslim guy, first a guy come down in a blue and white shirt. He comes down strangely, because nobody on that side of the theater. We're the only one on that side of the theater. Everybody else is on the other side. The police, the ambulance, the fire department, everybody's on the other side. We're the only one on that side. So this guy just come out the blue in a blue and white shirt. So I keep my eye on him. He walks through. I say something to Paul. That was it. Now, we pull out in the driveway. We in the driveway now. So this guy and the Muslim start coming down. The Muslim guy start coming down the street. When he start coming down the street, I'm behind one of the pillows. It was a pillow right there at the time. They didn't change the whole thing now. So I'm behind the pillow, but I see him coming down the street. So I'm just counting steps in my mind. So when I think like he done took about 20 steps, he should be like 3 to 4 car lengths from Puff. I just come off out the pillow with my gun like this. He looks at me. I look at him. He walks back down the street. You understand?
Yeah.
So he's out of sight. So we line up the cars on side the Peterson Museum. And so then we right in front of Big's car. We right in front of Big's car. Paul comes up to me. I said, Paul, you ready to go? He said, yeah, we ready. I said, all right, cool, follow us. So then I go to my car where Puff is at, because Puff is my principal. You understand? I get on the side of the car, right? I get on the side of the car. So they had the guardrails on those Suburbans. At that time, I'm 265 pounds. You understand?
Yeah.
I'm a whole body than that right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Back then, I'm light enough. You know what I'm saying? So Puff said to me, Gene, get in the car. I said, why? He said, Gene, we don't need that. I said, how you gonna tell me how to do my job, man? You know what I'm saying? He said, Gene, if you don't get in this car, you ain't gonna never work for Bad Boy again. I said, nigga, I might not never work for Bad Boy anyway. He said, Gene, get in the car. I said, yo, so I get in the car, the nigga leaves this. As soon as I get in the car, he pulls the seat back. So I'm like this now. I said, man, what the fuck is you doing? I said, yo, Kenny, run the next 3 lights. Run the next 3 lights, I'm like, Kenny. And he said, why? I said, Kenny, run the next 3 lights or let me drive. And Kenny just took off. Right? The reason I said run the next 3 lights, here go God working again. 2 weeks before I went to that California thing, I took what you call an interrogation and surveillance class done by the DEA. The DEA said, in that surveillance in that class, they said, if you want to know somebody following you, make 3 rights. Where you at when you make 3 rights?
Same.
Yeah,
Same
spot.
Back where you
You
started.
back where you started at. You understand what I'm saying? He said, run 3 lights or run 3 lights or take 3 rights. That's what they said in the class. They also taught you how to interrogate somebody. You understand? They taught you how to do surveillance, and they taught you how to do surveillance so you ain't seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what came to my mind. Kenny, run the next 3 lights. So anybody know And if y'all all went to the club together before, and I can go around this room, and I bet you I get the same response from each and every one of y'all. You understand? And I want y'all to be totally honest right now. You understand? Listen, y'all all went to the club together, right? Right. He run the light. What you gonna do?
I'm gonna run the light.
He run the light. What you gonna do?
Run that light.
Yo, my man, he run the light. What you gonna do?
Did that a few times.
We all gonna run the light.
Yeah.
I just did this shit a couple weeks ago. So when
You
I left the
understand?
club, yeah.
Anybody know we all gonna get the ticket?
Or the last man.
We all on the last man. We all and then and if we see the police pulling them over, what we gonna do?
We all pulling over.
No, we all gonna pull over.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, I'm pulling over.
Unless you got some warrants.
I got to go.
He got warrants.
I can't be
we
seen.
stay-
I
we
love
stay-
you, but I can't.
Yeah, we came together. We stay together. Yeah.
They got you, not me.
Anybody
But
know
yeah.
that's how we roll. That's how we do. I've asked some women on my show. I got my own show, Gene Deal Show. The women said the same thing. We all gonna run the light.
Right.
Big driver stayed at the light. The dude pulled out the parking space. It was no drive-by, brother. It was never drive-by. And everybody in here always thought it was a drive-by, right?
I
Yeah.
remember hearing that.
Now they pull up next to him and yeah.
Because y'all heard them white boys tell y'all that. That dude was parked there all night. He was parked there all night. And the Muslim dude who walked down to me,
Scoping.
that's the dude who killed Big.
Damn.
Wow.
So now we passed the light.
But he said
Mom-
he walked up the puff first, right?
He walked up the car first. That's when I stepped out and had the hammer and showed him.
Yeah, listen.
You know what I'm saying? The dude looked me dead in the face. God is good again. Because I had I was on, when we was on tour, I was in the tour truck with Farrakhan's son, Mustafa. I didn't know shit about the Muslim nation, brother. I was new to it. I was dumbfounded. So I'm very inquisitive where I don't know something, I want to know. And he told me, he said, yo, we teach the young men to humble themselves. That's the first thing we teach them, how to humble themselves. And when a Muslim look you in the eye, he's supposed to say the proverbial words of Assalamu alaikum.
Right.
That dude who dressed like a Muslim, looked like a Muslim, that I assumed that was a Muslim, didn't say a damn word to me. He just turned around and went the other way. He didn't say, damn, brother, what's the hostility?
Right.
He didn't say, Assalamu alaikum, Kaif halak, hamdalillah.
None of that.
He didn't say none of that.
He's not a friend.
He looked me in my eye, looked down at my gun, and walked the other way. So now, Tone, who's behind me, and I'm sideways, he say, somebody got a gun at, pointing at Big them. The car's right there on the corner. Now, instead of Kenny stopping the car and put it in reverse or doing a U-turn when Tone said that, he said, somebody pointing a gun at Big them. Him supposed to be security who's driving. He's supposed to stop the car, turn around. We don't need to hear no more. They point a gun at Big. When he heard that, he didn't do none of that. He said, what'd you say, Tone? Then we go, pow, 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 pow. This motherfucker speed the car. Woo. I'm like, Tone, what the fuck is you doing? Turn this motherfucker around, Tone. You know what he said? We don't know who he's shooting at. I'm telling Kenny that. Sorry about that, y'all.
No, it's good.
So he panicked.
He started flying. He then stopped. After I'm screaming at him, he turns back around. He turns and he stops dead in front of Big's car. Me and Puff run out. And I'm behind Puff, no Diddy, and
God damn.
Nobody safe.
That's like the greatest time and effort.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
yeah. So I'm on, and then Tone said, "Yo, Gene, come on." Me and Tone jumped in our Suburban now, and we start trying to chase the guy, and we was following, and Tone just took the right turn, and then we seemed like we was going up a hill, like up there, and when we got up there, we didn't see shit, nobody.
And then the driver of Big's car ran off at that
This
time?
motherfucker put the car in park, jumps out and run. Every door in Big car was open except his. So you had time enough to put the car in park?
That's the worst part.
You understand what I'm saying? When you heard that first shot, you knew it was where it was coming from. You could have just crashed the car. That would have stopped the driver at least. You could have just crashed the car. He put the car in park and jumped out and ran. Everybody in Big's car ran. Except Big.
And the driver is no just driver, it's security.
No, it wasn't. It was just one of Big's dudes.
Okay.
G Money. He wasn't security at all.
Damn.
Now, what's Puff's reaction in this moment?
When I looked at Puff, he had his head down. He had his head down like this on the floor now.
Like he might be next.
In the front seat. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is.
And so now, obviously, after hearing Mase say things like this, it just kind of like pisses you off to.
See, first and foremost, and what I said before is that Mase had more information than all of us. You understand? Mase and Stevie J went to a celebrity basketball game where the dudes told Mase and Stevie J they wanted Big and Puff dead. Mase came back and told me, Puff, the whole 9 yards. He never told Big that information. Whether that would have stopped Big or nothing or not, but still in all, if he'd have heard Mase say, yo, I was at the game, Big, they want you dead out here. Maybe Big wouldn't have went to that party. You understand?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of people had told Big not to go to the party. Rivera has said that he sent Janet Jackman and Karen, what's her name? Karen Hunter? No, not Karen Hunter.
Karen Steffens.
No, not superhero.
Where you get that from?
Of course.
He said Janet Jackman.
Janet Jackman and Karen, what's her name? The porn star, the light skin.
I'm the last person that's gonna know.
I don't know.
Karen.
I'm still thinking Karen Steffens.
No,
This guy can't let her go.
I always get her name messed up.
Well, that's what we got Google for.
Porn star Karen Hunter? No. Is it Karen Hunter?
Nah, that's Heather Hunter.
That's her name. Heather Hunter.
Heather Hunter.
Heather Hunter. Yes. Heather Hunter. Why
I'm
I
over
keep
here
calling her Karen?
Yeah, I'm over here typing in Karen and Janet Jackman's porn.
Yeah,
It's Heather Hunter.
Heather Hunter.
It was Heather Hunter.
Oh,
light skin, right?
Go in the game, yeah.
I got pictures of her with Pac, I'm saying.
Yep. These are all the guys.
Do you think that Puff told Big what Mase said?
Puff wanted Mase Big to go to that party. I doubt it. I really doubt it. He was doing everything to get Big to that party. And a revelation came to me on a man on his dying bed when he said that. He said at Math Hoffa's thing, his name was Jay-Z producer. His name was God. Clark Kent. Clark Kent said, you know, he just died of cancer. A couple of months before he died, I guess he had to get a lot of stuff off his chest.
Right.
He said, I was in the room with Big the night that he went to that party, and I told him not to go to that party. And I asked him, why are you going out your room? He said, D-Rock and Puff got me going to this party. He said he told him not to go. But Big went anyway. So his main man, D-Rock, who was seduced by Puff into getting Big at that party. Because I don't think Big, yo, bro, he had both of his femur bones broken. Yeah. They was pushing Big around in a wheelchair. It took us about 30, 45 minutes to come from the parking lot to up those steps. I don't think Big wanted that type of pain. That, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
No business going on.
Yeah, what was so important about that party, right?
Yeah.
Do you put like knowing where you're at mentally and as a brother at that time, because obviously, you know, you're taking care of Puff, right? But Biggie's part of that. And knowing that Mase didn't tell him that, do you put blame on him for that moment?
Who, Mase?
Yeah.
Well, Big is his own man at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But if Mase gonna point fingers at security, you understand, and make it seem like because nobody busts your gun, you ain't open your mouth. And people want to say, he told Puff and he told security. He told Puff and Puff security. Did he tell Big security? I told Big security. But maybe you should get it from Mase. So if you're going to start running your mouth and you're going to start talking, you tell the whole story. That's why I ain't come out here to this internet and half-ass on nothing I said and nothing I did. I'm going to tell the whole story. And you know what's happening? Everything I said start popping back up.
Yeah.
People start talking and be like the other day somebody called, yo, Gene, Suge just mentioned Corey Jacobs. He just mentioned that. I heard you say that 2 years ago. Yeah, you tell the whole story. People gonna come out and they gonna start talking. Wait till you see. Wait till this boy go to jail. And how many stories come up.
Do you honestly think that he is going to jail?
Is a pig pork?
Man.
Before we leave that, when you mention this thing with Mase, he says everybody left him. Is that the truth? That he was left there alone?
The truth is a lot of people were left because after the hospital, Puff got on the first jet in San Diego and flew the hell up out of there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He wasn't the only one that's left. You understand?
And your job is to pretty much leave with him and protect him. You said
Bro, I wouldn't go.
Oh, okay.
What happened was that I had the Black Hands cats come over. Black Hands is an organization that was started in the federal penitentiary. If you know the story of Chaz Williams, BET did American Gangsters.
Yeah, I think I seen that. Yeah, the
Right.
yeah.
And they said he robbed 160-some banks while he was in jail.
Oh, man. Bad boy.
Yo, you know how he did it? He was in the college program in jail where they was letting him go out on furloughs. Mm-hmm. He would go out on a furlough from the college. He would go to the college, get his work or whatever like that, then go rob a bank.
And be right back in time for supper.
And go right back to the jail that night. How you gonna look for the bank robber in jail?
Dude, lock me up.
Facts, yeah.
What do you do with the money is the question.
No, he had an apartment. They had an apartment. And the only reason, oh my God, the only reason they caught him is somebody got caught robbing banks and knew there used to be a part of his team and they told on him.
Oh, man.
That's the only reason they caught him.
See, I want the real story.
You know what I'm saying? So, answer your question, man.
Because you were saying you stayed there.
Yeah,
the Black Kings.
Yeah, I stayed there with the Black. Actually, they followed us.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I did security for them.
Yeah.
Because Chaz came out here, changed his life. He started doing parties. That party that Shaq gave at the All-Star Cafe. Remember the All-Star Cafe?
No.
How old are you, bro?
I'm about to be 40.
You mean Planet Hollywood? You talking about Planet Hollywood?
No, you never heard the All-Star Cafe?
Maybe I heard it.
It was in Vegas, in Cancun. They had like 3 or 4 of them.
I seen the one in Vegas.
Can you Google it?
Yeah.
The All-Star Cafe.
He got like crazy art and shit in there. You know what I'm saying? But I've been to the one in Vegas.
But you're saying that they had that going on after this occurred, and you stayed there in L.A.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I stayed in L.A. with the Black Hands dude because I called Chaz. Chaz came over to the hospital with a team of cool. Nigga, Big just got shot. These Cali niggas don't play fair. It ain't no fair in war. You understand?
Yeah.
So I'm calling the people who know the Gorilla Black Mafia. You know exactly. I know this dude. He love me. I love him. I work for him. He gonna make sure I'm all right.
Yeah.
You understand? So he bring a team of guys at the hospital so it could protect us. So now they willing to drive 120 miles to get Puff to San Diego, to get on a plane. We got cars behind us now, on the side of us. Nigga, Puff say stop the car. He said, Eugene, that's Chaz and them? I said, yeah, we good. He said, tell them we don't need all that. I said, what? We don't need all that. I jumped out the car and left and got in the car with them. So they took me back to the Beverly Hills Hotel. Mase had called me. You know, Paul had called me the day before that, 2 days before that. Mase was stuck in the Century Hotel. Niggas about to get at Mase. I went and got him out the Century Hotel. The Century Club is a party, not hotel. It's a Century. It's a party called the Century. I got him out of there.
He was a superstar at the time in his own right. So you would figure he's leaving. Like, we'd all think that, you know, Mase got to leave with Puff.
He didn't. He was a lot of people was stuck out there. He wasn't the only one. He was probably the main known character. You understand?
Yeah.
That was, you know, that they would really know that he was there. So he was right about that.
So he said the thing is he tried to pin it on you that you were hiding or somebody in security was hiding, and that's what like set you off. Like that's what started this.
Well, see, the thing about it is, brother, because before Roger Bonds, and Roger Bonds wasn't with us back that time, if anybody said anything about bad boy security or bad boy, they would automatically think it's me.
Yeah.
You understand? Because I became the face of the person that was talking about the security and what happened, you know, during the bad boy era, during that time. So when you say something, brother Mase, you know in fact that I was halfway down the block when it happened, and you was in your hotel room. So first of all, it's hearsay, because you don't know what happened. You don't know what got. It was shots fired that night. You know those shots was fired? Because somebody from Death Row that was affiliated with Death Row shot his weapon in the air that made the police and everybody go over to the other side of the thing. When the FBI did their report and they found out, they seen the guy said his gun was jammed and stuck or something like that, and he didn't think it would fire, but it started firing. This is what he told the FBI. When the FBI did the report and they ran the check on him, they seen all his numbers going back to the death row office. So that all was set up, bro. That somebody planned that, and that was it. That was done perfectly.
And then obviously that brings up Roger Bonds, who we've had on the show quite a few times, and I know that two of you don't see eye to eye.
Well, the thing about it is me and Roger Bonds came in at 2 different times. You know what I'm saying? Roger Bonds just did an interview saying that
that Diddy said to punch you on sight. Or
man,
what he
Diddy
said.
ain't listen to me. Were we still in high school? You see that nigga, you better punch him.
Yeah.
What it look like a grown man coming up to another grown man and punching him? And what it look like a nigga coming up to punch me, period? It's not happening. He know what he told him, but he can't say that on camera. And plus, at the time, I was still law enforcement. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he didn't tell him to punch me. He didn't tell him to what you call. I know how Puff get down.
What do you think about, because it's almost like these interviews, and people are having these interviews, and there's a lot of people talking, and a lot of people, Mase has a voice now because he has his own platform, right? People are platforming individuals like Roger Bonds, and it kind of drowns out a message, right? Somebody could say, well, Gene Deal's not telling the truth, Roger Bonds is, or Roger Bonds not telling the truth, Gene Deal is. So what do you think about him getting a platform and being able to speak out about things that, some things that he wasn't even there for?
Well, your opinion in your mouth is just like an asshole. Everybody got one. You know what I'm saying? And if people want to bring people without doing their homework, you see, on the individuals, then that's them and their money. Now I see guys talking shit on platforms, but I never see the host say, well, let me ask you, brother, how do you know that? Like this one guy just got on this platform, Gene Deal them gave Puff the ability to antagonize and come at people like that all crazy and shit. Intimidate people. Well, brother, how do you know that to be true? Who told you? Were you there? It don't matter with YouTube.
Yeah.
It don't matter with the internet.
Absolutely.
You know why it doesn't matter? Because as long as Gene Deal and certain people with relevance, name is in the title, it makes people go there to see it.
Right.
So that's gonna make your views go up.
Yeah. So let's say it's not punch you.
Huh?
Let's say it's not punch you.
Bro, I already knew it way before it happened. Way before Roger Bonds even said anything. Do you think that I'm not so in tune with the streets and people to know that I knew Puff had a hit out on me? I've been knew that shit. No ifs, ands, and buts. I know what Puff does. I know a lot of shit that I don't say. And it don't have nothing to do with him screwing no girls, doing no sex stuff, because he never did that stuff on her. But he's done some ill shit to people that he shouldn't have had nothing to do with it. He should have kept his motherfucking mouth closed. And some people ain't here because of that.
Let me ask you this that people probably don't ask you. Knowing that you know those things, where are you at mentally in those times? Like your mental health, your well-being, because that's not something that you're just cruising past and you're okay, because even if it is, it's somebody that you once took care of that feels that way about you. You're still a human being at the end of the day.
But that's why you got to have other things in your life, bro. Like, the only time I talk about this shit is when people have me on their platforms. I've had God in my life for a long time. Amen. You understand?
Yeah.
I understand that you have to do other things in life. I write poetry. I write books.
Books, yeah. Put that degree to use.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. You understand? I help people with their problems. I talk to a lot of people, bro, with their problems.
Yeah.
I just had to tell a girl the other day, bro. She said, I can't. My mother died, my father died 3 or 4 years ago. And I can't get over They're deaf. And it's tearing me apart. I don't want to go out the house. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And I said, let's get to the first thing. And I'm very sorry that your mother and father died. And she said to me that, I said to her, did you ever go to church with your mother and father? Yo, my mom and my father kept me in church. We all went to church together. We did that. And I said, okay. I said, so you believe in God? And she said, yeah, I believe in God. So I said, if you didn't believe in God, if you believe in God, why you didn't give it to God? But people really don't understand, bro, that my story is bigger than Puff, from Big L, from Fat Joe. Yeah. You know, I was at the Rucker with Fat Joe when he won the I can show you pictures when he won the championship against
Rock Nation.
Rock Nation.
But we don't talk about the Rucker.
Yeah. You understand? You know, all the rappers, it's a lot of stories that I can actually tell. Right. It's some people careers I could bury. You understand?
Right.
With the truth. Listen to me.
You were there type.
Not only that I was there, I know what really happened. And I ain't afraid to say it, but I won't say it because I don't have a problem with them.
So that's what I wanted to ask you. When you speak about these things, you speak very adamantly. It's very real for you too. You obviously, it's your experience. What brings you to want to speak on these things? Is it a personal vendetta? Is it an opportunity for compensation? Is it a justice thing? Like, what makes you speak on these things publicly? Because you're sacrificing your own peace and maybe a few other opportunities, but...
And that's a great question. And it has become a little of all that now. It didn't start off that way.
Right.
When I first came to this thing, man, I did a documentary myself. Cost me $25,000 that I couldn't even put out because I would be sued because you had to have clearances, you had to have opt-out insurance, and you had to have some other thing I found out after I spent my money.
ChatGPT wasn't
That's
around.
a good amount of money right there.
After I spent my money doing this shit. And MREC has the stuff. You know what I'm saying? He has the footage and everything.
Might be able to drop that
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he probably gonna God knock on wood, I ain't here no more.
Right.
But anyway, to get to the question that you asked me, it didn't start off that way. Yeah, well, my brother, it's some things happen, with Wolf Mother and Puff, with my friend D Ferg and Puff, and what I know he said about Wolf, and then he keep using his name like that was my brother, and you did some shit that you shouldn't have done as a man, and that man ain't here no more.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
It's from the city college experience and some other things that had happened. You understand? So now that's with him. I've told stories about other people, but I've told stories of things that happened, but because who he is and the situation is going through has been magnified. Yeah. You understand? So now it started out as, I'm gonna tell people about this dude character. Cause he don't deserve no key to the city.
They're not seeing it. So
I'm gonna tell the people about this character. It's not only his character, I'm gonna tell them how he treats people. Because he don't deserve a doctorate from Howard University. You understand? I'm going to tell people who he really is. So no kid would ever be following him as if he's supposed to be a blueprint on how a person should be. Because it's wrong. He didn't treat the dudes who was with him right to get him to that point.
Because it was known as black excellence.
Right. This is bullshit. I was speaking to the producer earlier today, And I just said that, and Chaz told me this before, is that if all y'all built this whole platform together, he's doing the engineering, you doing the hosting, you doing the security, or you doing, making sure everything is straight.
Marketing,
Marketing or whatever. But Danza make it. They want him. He started getting millions from it. Now, you might have been knowing Danza when he was a kid and he didn't have shit. Do you think he wants you around him?
I would hope. But now he got the millies, right?
Now, everybody's coming to Danza telling him he's so great. He's the best thing since sliced bread. He started believing that. Do you think Danza wants somebody around him when he couldn't buy a loaf of bread?
No, you want the other people that's getting to it just the same way.
And that's how it happens. Puff never wanted the dudes around him when everybody was telling him so great. He brought me in one day. One day, me and Puff got into it in the studio. He had said some shit about Danity Kane.
Oh, shit.
He said, they gonna keep fucking around with me and I'm gonna drug them hoes and pimp them out to my niggas. He said that shit. I said, who the fuck you? I was walking out the studio. I said, man, what the fuck is you talking about? Them somebody's daughters, nigga. And I had to walk to the studio. I don't know why I went out the studio. I went out the studio. When I came back, he was ready to get at me. Yo, what you say when you let out of here? You broke ass cop. Fuck up out of here. Shit like this. He started talking shit about me. I say, broke cop. Nigga, you ain't got shit I ain't got. I got a ring, you got a ring. You got a chain, I got a chain. I got a house, you got a house. I got a car, you ain't got a motherfucking thing I ain't got. Yes, you do. You got them green ass teeth in your mouth. Cause Puff used to have some Grand Gangrene shit around his teeth. This shit used to be fucked up crazy. if you see one of programs, I think he was on either Drink Champs or something. He said, y'all can't talk now because I got my teeth fixed. You understand? You should have been had them motherfuckers fixed. You understand? All that motherfucking money you was having. So I was talking bad about the nigga. I said, yo, man, you need to get some effort that.
The heavy duty.
And put that shit in your mouth and just let it sizzle. You gonna want to swallow it. You gonna want to spit that shit out, but don't. I'm going at this nigga crazy in the studio. You know what I'm saying? and he's saying shit and niggas is falling on the floor. And all he was saying was broke cop, nigga this, that, and the other. Get the fuck out of here, you cornball. I'm going off on this nigga like that. So the next day, I go to the house, picks him up. Get ready to pick him up. But I'm downstairs and the chef is cooking something. So I'm, give me something to eat in there too. So he said, hit the intercom. Yo, Gene, come upstairs. And I was like, fuck you want, man? He said, yo, come upstairs, Gene. So I go upstairs. So he said, yo, Gene, I'm telling you, I was lying here in bed and I was thinking about how you was talking about me last night. And I was dying. He said, you was killing me, man. He said, if you know any of them niggas would have laughed, I'd have fired their ass. I said, yeah, nigga, I know I had you. I know I had your motherfucking ass. He said, yeah, but you can't do that no more. I said, I can't do that no more. He said, nah, Jen, you can't talk like that about me in front of people.
Can't embarrass the king.
You understand?
Quote unquote.
I said, well, nigga, you don't say nothing about me, and I won't say a motherfucking thing about you. You keep my name out your mouth, I'm going to keep your name out my mouth. All right? He said, we good with that.
Yeah, he was definitely
ain't never
grateful.
say nothing else to me about that again.
Yeah, he didn't want to get
like
cooked again. That's why.
Nah, but the thing about it is that because he knew that you can't tell me that and say some shit about me.
Because he's so used to having that power over people.
Right. And because I came up with him since 89, in the same gang and knew him from that stuff like that, he know he had that power over
different.
me.
Yeah.
Like he had
I
something
know you,
like
brother.
that.
That's probably why he kept you around for a while too, though.
Well, he kept me around, brother, because I had power in the street because people in the streets loved me and they knew when I was with him, you couldn't do nothing to him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He knew that.
Yeah, he knew that.
He knew it.
He knew that. He did a mixtape. If you goes, it's a mixtape out of '94, and it's what's the DJ? SNS. He calling out everybody, all the crews and stuff. So if I was just a plain old security nigga, why would he say, shout out to my man Big Gene?
Yeah.
That ain't a relationship with a security guy that you are paying just to do security. He knew I had my own name in the streets.
Right.
Because who I was. And the people that I dealt with and was around. So that's what that's about. And all these cats, they want to give me the titles just to get, no, bruh, I'll take that. But it was bigger, it was more than that. And I was like a big unk to the nigga at one time because I would try to tell him, man, yo, you gotta stop fronting. And he'll say to me, yo, Gene, look at the cars we drive, look at the houses we live in. We not fronting. Well, you right. But you ain't gotta flaunt it like that in people's face.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's a story that people really don't understand, and they really want to listen to me. If you trying to find me in any of that bullshit that we didn't know about, and then we just found out he was doing it, nigga, all you gonna get is practice.
Ain't nothing there.
It ain't gonna be nothing there about me, and it ain't gonna be nothing in there about a lot of the NYPD and the correction officers that work for him, because he knew who to do that shit around. People who get in trouble and do crimes with people who do crimes.
Yeah.
Point blank, period.
There's a question that says, 3 men in a room. One with money, one with fame, one with fear. Who runs the show? Right? Now, when you have somebody that has all three, you got a monster. It's not just about all of us in this room with his ego. That's a monster in this room. So things happen. And people don't want to speak up about it. People don't want to be honest about it out of fear what that monster with the money, fame, and that fear, not respect, that fear is going to do to him.
You got to understand where Puff come from too, brother. You know, he never knew how to talk to girls. He never knew how to talk to girls. Wolf would get a girl and he'd be like, yo, if you let me fuck, I'll give you 10,000.
Damn.
He would do shit like that, bro.
Damn.
My man's got J.Lo with no word game.
Bro, you ain't have to. 50 said it best. I let my watch talk for me, my ring talk for me, my gun talk for me. Bow, what up, homie? When you get a certain kind of money, a certain kind of thing. Because I used to see girls come out the room, you know what I'm saying? I used to see girls come out the room, and I'd be like, and they'd be looking at me, and I'd be like, for real? Bad joints. Like, yo, for real? I would do that. I would embarrass them like that too. Yo, they be smiling.
Damn.
Yo, it's a couple of Hollywood joints that came out. I'll be like, for real?
Come on, man.
And I used to like your movies.
You're supposed to know better. Everybody here.
Oh my God.
Yo, I want to, so like I said, with our conversations, I love having thorough conversation, but there are a few questions that I wanted to get to.
Get to them, brother.
Stevie J, said that you're washed up, you got bad knees, and he was talking bad about you.
They
what do you got
put
to
the knees in here?
Yeah. What do you got to say to Stevie J for addressing you?
Well, listen to me, man. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. You understand? When you get somebody like Stevie J, who's multi-talented, he get caught up in that bullshit. I didn't bodyguard Stevie J. I can go on my phone and show you pictures. You understand? He just talking shit because
he's trying to protect Puff.
His lifeline was being cut off. You understand? I never had bad knees. I got this scar right here from playing in the Pro-Am. You understand? But that didn't make my knees bad. You understand?
Just needed something to say.
You know what I'm saying? He just had to have something to say, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like Mase said, with the the security took a shot. Nigga just want to have something to say.
Yeah.
You understand? Stevie J, you look at him, bro. You know what I'm saying? I can't believe that these dudes who did not use drugs went to Miami, sorry about Florida, and California and got strung out on the sunshine and the good shit. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. These kids didn't use drugs back then, man.
It's real.
And they got turned out.
Yeah.
So Fonsworth Bentley, that's somebody that as a kid I seen him all the time. Mm-hmm. And then now he's not around anymore. He's not any part of any situation. Everybody thinks he's going to be here. But in your opinion, was that somebody? Because a lot of rumors go on online about him. Do you think that the rumors are true that they say that he had relations with Diddy?
I don't think he had relationships like that with Diddy. I don't. I never thought Bentley. And I was there when they gave him his name. Now, it's a little suspect that niggas give a motherfucker their name.
I'm going to call you this.
And I heard somebody get online and talk about Puff gave him his name. You wasn't even there, man. Shut the fuck up. You don't even know what you're talking about. We was outside of Puff apartment on 74th and Park Avenue. It was this kid named Tony De Niro. If you see that video, the black kid who playing the guitar, that's Tony De Niro. He was some kid from California that Puff knew. It was him and Mark. He wrote The Devil, Dancing with the Devil. One of the artists who sing that song.
I gotta hear it.
Come on, man.
We ain't as good as you with the name. You got some memory.
Help the old guy, man. Mark Curry. Mark Curry. That's his name.
Mark Curry.
You know what I'm saying? Mark Curry. It was Mark Curry. It was Tony De Niro, Fonsworth Bentley, and me. Puff was in the house, and Mark Curry and Tony De Niro was saying, "Yo, man, you got to come up with a different image for Puff," because Puff was trying to change his image. You understand?
Yeah.
You know, a little bit more with the dressing and the suits, mixing the different ties, stuff like that. That GQ type of shit.
P. Diddy mode.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what Fonsworth Bentley was there for, because Fonsworth Bentley knew how to put them clothes together with the different colors and all this other shit like that. You know, and so now Tony De Niro was like, yo, you got to be like Fonsworth. And you got to be that butler shit like Bentley and stuff like that. You understand? We got to figure you out a name like that. You know, and then I think it was either Mark Curry or him to say, well, just call a nigga Fonsworth Bentley. And I said, nigga, you about to let them change your name? What kind of nigga let somebody change their name?
Word.
He was trying to get on.
I said, you about to let them change your name?
That's rough.
Right.
That's rough.
And so that's how they came with the name Fonsworth Bentley. We was out on 74th and Park Avenue in front of Puff building, and Puff was upstairs. And then he said, yo, I don't care. He said, yo, and I'll just be over the top, and everything I do be over the top.
So he came in as a stylist, like that was his whole job?
Yeah.
No, he was a personal assistant, stylist, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he became a stylist and everything because he knew that fly shit.
Right.
You understand?
And then he started stealing watches.
I saw a post recently. They said that was how they ended up splitting up. He started stealing from.
Yeah, so they gonna steal some watches.
Yeah, but then somebody get online. One of them guys got online and said, Gene Dale don't know what he talking about. He stole Jennifer boots. Jennifer had some $5,000 boots.
Even more sus.
And she was looking for the shit.
When you say Jennifer, you talking about J.Lo?
J.Lo, yeah, Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, man.
Yo, man, listen to me. I wanted to help her so much in so many different ways and shit like that. And then she would say shit to me, man. You know, like, she was like, yo, Gene, people who look out for me, I look out for them and everything like that. And I said, she did buy Wolf a fucking watch for Christmas, didn't she? So I thought Wolf was looking out for her, telling shit like that. I don't know. I don't really know. But I was like, I'll say, Miss, and I'll be just like this. Miss Lopez, I am not at liberty to speak about Mr. Combs and any of his situations. I would always tell her that. Yeah. And then she'd be right there, Gene! Like they was trying to convince her that the reason that they be having all those girls in the studio sometime and be around because he has to have that image with girls be around like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The studio in a place like that. And I was like, how do you tell a chick that's been in California and living colors and all this other shit like that?
Another game.
That she got she don't know but game. And she be looking at me, she be like, Gene, would you tell them, do they think I'm Susie Sausage Head or something like that? I was like, Miss Lopez, I'm not at any level.
You're just Jenny from the block.
You know, I had an observation a little while ago when we did the Roger Bonds episode. Him and Diddy and J.Lo broke up around 2001. She came out with the movie Enough in 2002. You remember what that movie was about?
Yeah.
Domestic violence.
Right.
Is there any, and maybe you are not at liberty to discuss any of it, is there any relation to that?
I've never seen him even treat her or raise his voice at her.
Because all this stuff
I've seen him do
coming out.
Kim. I've seen him raise his voice at Kim. But I've never seen him do Jennifer like that.
Yeah, he don't hit the white girl.
Well, she also don't seem like she fuck off about that kind of shit.
I don't know. I think he just don't hit the white girl though. I think that's all it is.
That's Puerto Rico. What? But I just thought it was
I know
funny.
where you're getting at with it. Yeah.
I just thought it was funny.
I never seen him. Yo, she used to say shit, man, and I'm usually straight, especially around other people, women, but she used to say shit to that nigga to get my dick hard. I was like, no, I'm sorry, man. I forgot this is a family program.
No,
definitely ain't.
No, you shit.
I want to know what she said.
No. She be some smooth shit. They be sitting at the cafe, and I'm sitting around there doing security. She said, you know what the perfect day would be? And this little motherfucker would be on his phone like this. She was like this. She said, the perfect day would just be me, you, sitting at a little cafe like this, eating some calamari, sipping on some wine. And before the day could even end, we just be talking and talking and talking and talking. Now that's some real minute shit, but to see a woman of her caliber just say some, that's all she wants. When my chick be talking about, when I'm gonna get them boots, it's how you gonna get me.
Farnsworth is walking out with him.
And you like, goddamn J.Lo don't talk like that. Why are you asking me all this shit?
All she gonna do is sit at a cafe and talk and talk and talk.
Now with J.Lo, were you there the day the Shyne incident happened?
I was supposed to go to work. They was calling me. You understand? See, what happened was we had off. You understand? We had off. Puff was, and J.Lo was in the Hamptons. They was finna do some kind of, he had got a yacht. And they was finna take the yacht out to the Mediterranean or some shit like that.
Right.
You know, so they was finna do some kind of, like, take some kind of ship, to take the yacht away.
Right.
So Wolfman was at the show. I'm happy. And then Paul calls me up, yo, Gene, Puff coming back to the city. I got him on Sundays. So, man, listen, you ain't hear from me. I'm off. So they went to the fucking show. Wolf told him, man, you with your girl, stay down there. Stay right where you at. Stay right where you at, man. What the fuck you doing? They get in the motherfucking car. How far is Tampa from here?
3.5 hours.
A little bit more, yeah.
Okay. That's a major city, so no, I wouldn't say that. Coming from New York City to the Hamptons, it's anywhere from about a 2-hour drive, an hour, 45-minute, 2-hour drive.
That's like from here to West Palm type shit.
Okay, I don't know where we're going. Okay.
Yeah. West Palm Beach is where...
And it's still going to be a little bit traffic because you on the LIE. Because Wolf and them is in the club, this nigga is with Jennifer by himself in the Hamptons. He want to come all the way back to the city. So he drives back to the city. I didn't go. But from that point on, after all that shit, I was with him a little bit more. Because when he got off of work, sometime I got off of work, he wanted me to come, they wanted me to work with him, be with him, because he used to always ask for me.
So I have a question, right? So if you had worked that day, would you have potentially been in the same situation that Wolf ended up being in that night, being with Puff that night?
See, you got to realize is that Wolf is a gangster that has a hot head. So he for that shit and he about that shit. You know what I'm saying? So he don't mind doing what he got to do. I'm the type of person is that I'm going to get us away from this, or I'm going to try to alleviate the problem and move the problem from him. You understand? You take care of that before it get to that point. You understand? I've done that plenty of times. You understand? I've done it at Heavy D birthday party here at Anastasia. Come on, Paul, we got to move right here. And Wolf like, nah, I ain't moving. Pop, 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 pop. That's going on there. We at Luke's party. Puff, we got to go. Yo, Wolf, Gene said we got to go. You want to stay right here? Stay right here if you want to. I'm going to the door. See, I would do him like that.
Right.
This nigga running behind me. Gene!
You the vet, man.
You understand what I'm saying?
Big Gene.
You got to see things before it happens.
Right.
And your job and your principle, you try to stop it from getting to him. I'm trying to stop it before it get to him. People can say what they want to say, man. When you've done this so much and been around so many people and did this and stuff like that, it becomes a second nature. You know?
Yeah, you can see. I was thinking about it earlier when you were saying observing it. A lot of people, when they listen to you speak, they don't realize that as an individual like you are, law enforcement, you talking about the classes you went for the DEA, the security, you're naturally always observative. So when you're saying you think something's going down, it's not some like message from God every time. You're literally actually watching everybody in these crowds. You're watching to see where problems may occur and things of that nature.
Always.
You're very observative.
Right. See, check this out. Now, I gave this people for example before. And all us know this. At the club doing your thing. Yeah, I'm gonna get this, man. I'm gonna tear this shit up tonight, man. Honey feeling me and everything like that. Check it out. I want y'all to say it at the same time. 1, 2, 3. The music stop. What's gonna happen?
It's still
She gonna stop.
Nah, you're still like, what do you mean? You're still vibing?
What we doing after this?
No. None of y'all caught it. Try it one more time. You vibing at the party. All of a sudden the music stopped.
Look at the
We
DJ.
look around.
something about to happen.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now he caught it. Yeah.
Something about to happen.
Yeah. I'm thinking about the bitch right there.
Yeah.
Why stop? You want to leave? Let's leave.
Yeah. But did the music stop?
Yeah,
in the middle part?
Lights come up.
Lights come on. What's happening? Something about to go down.
Yeah.
What you supposed to do? Head towards the door.
Get the fuck up out of there.
Head towards the door. I don't give a fuck what time it is, shit like that. You head for the door. Mm-hmm. Security, a person that's security minded, you always thinking like that. What I gotta do? I'm with Scott Storch. We in North Hollywood. This nigga got $3 million worth of jewelry around his neck. He got a chain. Each one of the motherfuckers, he got a chain. Each one of the diamonds is 5 carats.
Damn.
Comes down to the middle of his chest. He got another 2-carat diamond ring. He got 10-carat diamond earrings. I mean, a 10-carat of the shit'll light up the
Kaleidoscope.
Yeah.
We at Kanye West's birthday party. It's me, him, Jason, Buddha, and Gloria Velez.
Damn. Gloria Velez. Shout out to Gloria.
Right? A dude come over to me, my man D. Yo, Gene, I can't keep my wolves off this nigga. I'ma give you 10 minutes to get him up out of here. All right? I looked at him. I said, give me 5. He said, I'm gonna give you 10 minutes to get him out of here. We at the table and everything. They done brought bottles and everything like that.
Oh, shit.
I said, give me 5. I said, yo, Scott, it's one of me and I got 1 gun. And these niggas is about to come over here and rob you. I gotta get you the fuck up out of here now. Gloria Velez said, how you gonna let your security tell you what to do and everything like that? I said, Scott, I'm walking. Scott. I said, Scott, I'm walking to the door now. Gave Jason a hammer. You understand? Mm-hmm. And just in case. You understand? Got him up out of there. We went to the charter house in Malibu. She was talking all kind of crazy shit.
She didn't want to leave. She wasn't even privy.
But she ain't even thinking about Scott.
Right.
She's thinking about the next Vic she gonna get. Mm-hmm. She already got him. But it's stars up in there, it's people up in there. But bruh, if you gonna wear some jewelry like that, give me, listen, 8 versus 80. I'd rather have 8 niggas thoroughly immersed than 80 with lukewarm enthusiasm. Mm-hmm. Nigga, listen here. We gotta fucking do it.
Yeah, word.
8 of us could do it. But this one nigga can't do it with all them right there.
Right.
So I said, give me 5. Got his ass up out of there.
Another question I got for you.
Go ahead.
Were you serious when you said that Puff purchased a casket too much prior to Kim's death?
I didn't say that, brother.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
I just saw something online that was talking about that.
Listen here, man. Right. The internet never fails you.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, but some people, I've heard that too. Yeah. That he purchased a gold casket, but that wasn't me who put that out there, brother.
Okay. So that question was easy. And now with everything that's going on with the case, before we close out, we seem to be at that crossroads, a big day. Today they said that, and I know a little bit about it. I spoke to you earlier. You kind of put me down on it. You said that a verdict was read for, or a verdict is there for 4 out of 5 counts, correct?
Partial.
Correct.
Yeah.
Partial.
And so, in your opinion, what's going on right now?
Well, the judge is not going to take a partial verdict. You know what I'm saying? Because he don't want nothing. It still could be give room, and this is what I believe this judge is doing. He's not giving room for anybody to do an appeal. Because anybody can appeal.
Yeah.
The prosecution can appeal, and the defense can appeal. But he's leaving little room for appeal, for it to go to the appellate court. So he told if there is a verdict of 4 of the 5, he's going to send the jury back in there and say, yo, listen to me. Y'all give me a verdict on all 5. Either is he guilty or not guilty. And I think that they were a little hung on maybe the RICO charges.
It's the word, though.
Yeah.
Hung.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Hung jury.
There's a hung jury on the RICO charges. So he could still be charged and he still go to jail with the 4 charges against him. They just have to throw out the RICO.
I see. How long?
But the RICO carry life, and the other shit is 30 to life.
Well, the you got to realize, first time offender in the courts and stuff like that. It's the category he falls up under. So he might be looking for 15 years.
Right.
You know, for the sex abuse and
The other charges.
charges like that.
Were you surprised that he didn't call up anybody as a witness, his team?
You know what gave it up? Is that if you was following the trial, when they had his chief, when the prosecution called the chief financial advisor, Derek, and the cross went in, they did a cross examination.
Yeah.
A redirect from the cross of the chief financial advisor. He said this. It was crazy. He said this. He said, what do you think about Mr. Combs? He's a hard worker. He's great. You know what I'm saying? He has a task in front of him. They complete the task. He doesn't take no for an answer. He brings out the best in you. So then he said, so you would say Mr. Combs is a great guy, a good guy. And Derek said, nothing. And then he took too long, and then the defense said, I want to strike that question. You just because now the prosecution always have a right to what? A redirect.
Right.
Based on what the defense says. You understand?
Yeah.
So now, and when you redirect, then that's what gets you in trouble. So a lot of shit is this, man. He didn't bring no witness up in there, and he didn't testify because they didn't want no redirect from nobody.
Now, with such a polarizing figure like yourself, you're on interviews and some of the largest platforms. We see you on the Art of Dialogue all the time, Vlad TV all the time. There's also
Vlad TV once. And
Vlad
never again.
Okay. Why you don't fuck with Vlad no more?
No, I don't fuck with
Never
Vlad, bro.
again.
Never again. I went on Vlad because K. Slade was a good friend of his.
Wow.
And Chaz Williams told me once I write my books, Vlad will be a good thing on there. But Vlad is full of shit. I can say this directly, and I don't want to disrespect your program and your relationship with him and nothing like that. Because he's going to sit up there and say that he don't believe and I make up shit. Motherfucker, then say what I made up. You understand? I want you to believe I'm right here with y'all. Any questions you got to ask me the questions. So if you said I made up something, don't just say I made it up. Say what I made up. That's what a real man do. You don't go out and speak against a brother or anybody and don't say what he did. So if you're saying that, I just had him on my program because he was out there when Big got killed and stuff like that, but some of the stuff I don't believe him and he made it up. Well, say what I made up.
Yeah.
Because everything I'm saying is coming true, bro.
Yeah. And then in that same situation, right, he always has Wack 100 up. And he sticks by him. And I know that you don't feel like Wack 100 is always telling the truth.
I don't care what Wack says. You know, I know where Wack came from. You understand what I'm saying? I know how Wack was made. You understand? Wack is using the 6ix9ine method of theory of the YouTube. 6ix9ine taught him that. Told him how he got big and what he did. Wack wasn't like that, bro. Wack used to be tight with K Slay. You understand? I met Wack 3 times in his life, and he tell everybody he knows me. And he met me at a party. So how do you get to meet and know somebody at a party? I never sat down and ate with him. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I never broke bread with him like that. But he fantasizes and build things up. And want people to believe, and people believe him.
Yeah.
You understand? On some of the shit he say.
The narrative.
But I have a problem with Vlad not being a real man about his shit, and he's mad at me because the people who sent him to pay me to do the interview thought that he was gonna make me be who I'm not, who I am. You understand?
Yeah.
He thought he was gonna make like, I'm gonna blow this up and I'm gonna get something out of Gene. Gene is not gonna do Gene like that. And when my whole thing just blew up on his channel, it made him look bad from the people who sent him. So now he gotta spin the narrative. And it makes him look bad. So that's why he was having Reggie and Kane and Wack up there. All of them in the same clique.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And listen to me, man. God is too good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
All the time.
Yo, God is too good, man. When I just heard some stuff that happened to a kid that was coming at me crazy, and then I just said, look at God. He'll fight your battles when you don't even need him to.
Yeah.
It's happened, man. I want the questions. I want the people come at me and ask me whatever they want to ask me. Because I have no problem with answering it. I'm not shying away from nothing, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I like the question that you ask and stuff like that because people don't understand. If I'm doing interviews, I'm supposed to talk. I'm supposed to give you, I'm supposed to answer your questions. I'm not supposed to shy away from nothing. Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not supposed to shy away from nothing. That's why I want the people to come in and ask me whatever. But you know what I found out?
What that?
You can't fix stupid.
Ain't that a
You
fact?
can't fix stupid, bro. And if I sit out here and I try to appease everybody, especially the stupid people who just can't see that it's certain people don't supposed to be out here. It's certain people that don't supposed to have a microphone in front of them.
100%. Now, can I ask you 2 questions?
You can ask me whatever you want to ask me, bro.
2 questions based on this. So, I do have the article in front of me where it said Gene Deal reveals Diddy's ex Kim Porter's casket was ordered 2 months before her death.
Now, who made that order?
Art of Dialogue, and you still fuck with them, right?
I fuck with them.
Yeah. So that's they said that you
I
said
seen
it.
their stuff. They got some good
Gene
stuff.
Deal reveals Diddy ex Kim Porter casket, was ordered 2 months before her death.
Yeah.
That don't mean I said it.
Okay.
I could have heard it.
Okay.
But I didn't say it. I didn't.
Did this story come to light because of you, though?
No.
Okay.
No, it was already out there.
And then the other
and
thing.
I don't even believe I said that in the thing.
That was one of the articles I had seen.
But that should have been your job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's why I asked
to do the research. To do the research and see did I say that?
Yeah, but that's why I asked.
I don't recall saying that.
Yeah,
but I know for a fact that I didn't make that up or I didn't bring it up. You understand?
Yes.
I've actually heard that. And if I did that interview and I brought it up, I would have said I heard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he can use that said I revealed it to him because I could say I've heard.
The hell yeah.
You know, just like
I'm just asking you.
No. I'm not getting offended or nothing like that.
No. I know. I'm just saying that's why I wanted to ask you about it. And then the other one was about Keefe D.
Right.
About 2017, you said you had an interview where you said you never seen anything. A few years later, you said that you do recall seeing a check.
That never happened like that. I never said that, bro. I never seen anything like what?
Never seen anything between Puff and Keefe D.
I never see. You take apples, you take oranges. You can call it fruit, but you can never say an apple tastes like orange or orange tastes like an apple. You can only say it tastes like fruit.
Yeah.
So now, if I say to somebody, if I never seen anything between Puff and Keefe D, I named all of them gambling. And I come back and I say to somebody that I seen a check. I never said the check came from Puff. I never said the check came from Keefe D. I said that Zip showed us a check for $1 million. So now somebody will run and say, "Oh, that's Puff."
Yeah.
So when Zip showed, and this is what I always say, you always tell the truth. I said, me and my man was on the stoop. Zip came around, and I think he had that Phantom, or I don't know what he had. He had something new. And he said, "Yo, I don't know how I'm gonna spend this." And he went in his right back pocket, showed us the check for $1 million. And he said, "Yeah, where you get that from?" Black Ground Records. So when he left, me and my man Slick say, "When did Zip get a record label?" So now, everybody in their mind gonna say, "Oh, I said I seen a check for $1 million for Kill Tupac." Well, in fact, you understand, I never said I seen a check to kill Tupac. I said I seen a check, and I was wondering, was that the check?
Yeah. Understandable.
Because I never knew Zip to have a record label, and that's what I always said, follow the money.
And it's also perfectly normal for you to think about scenarios and look back in hindsight, just like anyone else, and think, "Oh shit, maybe."
I don't have that right, bro.
What do you mean?
I don't have that right.
What, according to the people?
To people.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have that right.
I know that.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the crazy shit about it.
I say that all the time while we're doing this, while we're in front of cameras. Like I might, and you've said it perfectly before, like according to the information that comes. Like, you know, there's times where I might speak on something and I might have an opinion about something, but 2 years later, more information could come my way and I could look back at that situation and be like, oh, and now when I see it, I could see it clear. But at that moment, I didn't.
You know what, Jewel, that I heard before and I constantly repeat it? And I want to share this. And you tell me if this is a good jewel. Facts change feelings, but feelings don't change facts.
I like that.
Yeah, that's how you know it's a good jewel. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now, before we let you go, because we kept you here for a long time, I want to know.
Which we appreciate, man.
Yeah, I want to know, how do you? We heard a little bit about your mental health and how you keep going. But there has to be like some sort of like a way for you to get away from all this and you find your peace, or are you in your peace already?
I've been in my peace for a long time, but I'm human and you go back. I've learned how to cry. I never used to cry at all. Never. Thought it was weakness of a man. You understand? I learned how to pray. I thought I wouldn't get on my knees for nothing. I learned that cooking good food and sharing my talents as a cook with my friends is a spiritual and anointing thing that I enjoy. I learned how to do things that make me happy because life is too short, brother. You know, you have seen that sometimes God comes in the thief of the night and you didn't know that your girl was going to get bit by a raccoon today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Shit happens. So you got to enjoy life. You got to enjoy people around you as much as you possibly can because you don't know. So I take it like this. What you eat don't make me shit. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I do what's best for me, no matter what nobody say. I don't get caught up because I learned this internet, if how the real niggas looking fake and the fake niggas looking real. I ain't get no yeah, man. Okay,
Gene a trip.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But I enjoy y'all, man. I enjoy y'all podcast and everything like that.
Appreciate you.
And I've watched y'all a couple of times. I watched one time you was finna smash somebody out. Oh my God.
Island Boys.
It's a couple of.
I try to just stay away from all the bullshit, man. I tell people, you know, we used to hide it, right? Used to be like, oh, well, we got this studio, we're in the studio, but it's at home. And I stopped hiding it because it's like, this is something that when I welcome somebody into my home, I want to have a great conversation with them. I want to learn not only about the shit that Gene Deal's involved in, but who is Gene Deal?
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to bring my son in here for my son to dap you up and say what's up. You know what I mean? Like I enjoy having real conversations, and for people getting to know the real you, you know, especially men.
Right. There's
too often that we just get our ass beat on social media and real life. It's just like, oh, you're supposed to be able to handle this. You know, we seen. I saw that video of you outside of that courtroom. When you were having that altercation with the one gentleman that was talking to you, and you were like, "I'll knock you the fuck out." You know what I mean? And I seen it, and but more than anything, I thought it's a real human being that can't. Like every time you're out there, it's like cameras, million questions. It's like, what about him? You know, why is always being pressed about? Hey, tell me this or tell me that or do this and do that. It's like, what about him? And what is he?
But see, sometimes, man, they'll never see you as a martyr until you're dead. Yo, what man would take it upon himself to go against a music mogul, as they call him? But he haven't made music in the last 10, 15 years. But what man would decide to say, I'm going to take my piece, and for the people that I love and people that was around me, I'm going to let them know that they didn't die in vain, that nobody didn't care about them? What man would decide to say, I'm going to be a public menace, or I'm going to be a public icon for standing up for right? I never knew which way this was going to go, but I knew God was leading me the right way. I started this conversation now by telling you that when I went to MREC TV and he came on board and started this thing out with me and got me my own show, I said, Rec, I had a dream, bruh, and you gonna laugh at me and shit, but I didn't know where it was coming from. But I was in front of the Empire State Building and I had a sludge hammer and God told me one brick at a time.
Good one.
One brick at a time. It won't be me. Tupac said this. It won't be me. But I'll spark the mind of somebody else. So now, I used to hear people say on the internet all the time, and I think I might have heard you say it too. Y'all talk about Puffer do this and Puffer do that to somebody, and that dude Gene Dill, he be talking about him all the time. And he ain't did nothing to him. Did you say that?
I didn't say it, no. I don't think he said it. But it's been said.
Right, well, because...
Yeah.
But I seen it on the internet a couple of times.
Yeah.
He said, y'all talk about Puff, even what you call, but that dude Gene Dill be talking about him and he ain't did nothing to him.
I actually might have said that.
I swear I thought I heard you say it in one of your things.
I mean, yeah, man.
And you was talking to somebody and they was talking about me and everything
It might
like
have been
that.
Roger.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I'm saying that to say this. That, bruh, when you are anointed to do something, can't no man stop you.
Yeah.
You ain't worrying about nothing. God ain't finished with me yet, bruh. So people can say what they want to say. That young kid that you just got through talking about, did you see him on the internet the other day? Saying they took his channel. He can't get home. Oh, yeah. He can't eat. He effed up. It's going to be a lot more. It ain't going to be my doing. It's going to be God's work.
And he's doing it to himself. He's building that world for himself. You know? You know what else I noticed? Your life is really coming full circle. You know, you protecting your mom and being there for your mom, right? And somebody talking to you, and then you talking about the relationships that you got into, and you talk about the families and the kids that look up to you as a protector, and you became a protector. And at the end of the day, in a situation where people need you to protect them the most, you were the one that was there. Your life really has come full circle. You've been a protector this whole time. And that's dope.
Appreciate you, man.
Imagine.
Super dope.
Imagine. You said all that stuff that happened around 12. Imagine 11-year-old Gene seeing Big Gene now being a beacon for these people, right? Speaking up against the money, fame, and the fear guys. That's pretty full circle.
Yeah.
Coming from where you came from.
Oh, I know, man.
You know? I don't got to tell you. I know you know. I know you know. You know? It's amazing, man. It's a pleasure to hear you speak too. Intimidation has been a topic for people speaking around that guy's life and the things that happen behind closed doors. So I can't imagine you saw yourself speaking on this stuff 20 years ago.
Especially when you were the guy that...
But, bro, I did speak on it.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's what people don't understand.
For it to still be a thing, and the things that you say are also coming to light.
You can see on MTV 99, 2001, VH1. I'm speaking on this dude.
That's wild.
I'm telling people.
That's wild.
MTV could come out their vault. They had me in there for 5 hours. VH1, 4 hours. 2001, 99, Nick Bloomfield. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Bruh. And it's more about the character. It's more about the principles. It's more about, you know, the integrity.
Absolutely.
I never talked anything criminal that he did.
You still sparing that guy?
You know what's wild?
He in enough trouble right now.
Yeah, before you, well, I guess you just answered it. But your job at one point, if I'm not mistaken, right, was to be willing to jump in front of a bullet and die for this guy.
I would have. No ifs, ands, and buts, I suppose. And have showed it and did it plenty of times. He knows that.
Ain't a question.
But then again, the same guy that I would have saved life, he was trying to take my life.
Yeah.
The same guy that I would have saved life. The same guy I would have went to jail for tried to take my life. And guys on the internet gonna say all kind of crazy shit like I'm some broke, bum-ass bodyguard that because the check stopped every time I walked away. You understand?
Yeah.
I walked away. And I'm walking away now.
Yeah. Plus, Roger Bond said the checks weren't that good.
I don't know what. I thought they was. Bruh.
Different checks.
I don't do different checks.
Yeah. I'm just trolling.
He crazy. I don't know. Listen, shit. Bruh, he paid us for the first 10 hours $650.
At that time, too. Okay.
I'm talking about, I left him in 2004.
Yeah.
So hold up now. You got to get at his house at 9 o'clock. Sometimes he don't come out till 12 or 1. Right? You running around the city, going this way, he going to meetings. I'm just, on my days, he going to get the kids.
Yeah.
He in the park, on the phone, I'm throwing the ball to Justin and Quincy. You know what I'm saying? To like 3, 4 o'clock. Then we go back to the house. They fix the chef fixing some food and stuff like that. They go back around. Then he'll go get either Jennifer or whatever. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hang out. They go to dinner, do some shit like that, whatever like that. May do a movie or whatever like that. So now I've been there since 9 o'clock. He don't go in till about 1 or 2 or 4 o'clock, depending on what day, club, cafeteria, stuff like that. So now, at 9 o'clock, I'm talking about 1, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. For the next 5 hours, I'm making $60. It goes to $60 an hour.
Yeah.
Time in that.
So times 5, that's $300 to 900. I'm making like $1,000 a day.
Yeah, that's a good money. And you're living a good life.
Babysitting.
Yeah, I was just going to say, throwing the rock.
Adult babysitting. My check used to be anywhere from $1,800 to $2,400 every 2 weeks for 2 days. Man, I'm living like a fat rat in a cheese factory.
Let me get that.
Who don't want that? Yeah. Hey, hold up.
Right.
Off the books?
Right. Yeah, because
Mr. Dill, I appreciate you.
Another one.
Orlando, Kato.
Yes, sir.
It was another great one.
Wow.
Probably, this could be one of the greatest.
Definitely.
It's a great conversation. Plus, like, knowing the history and stuff like that. And just, see, a lot of times I try not to do so much research because I don't want to be full of bullshit. Because that's really what it is. Like, a lot of the times, if I know if I watch somebody else's interview or somebody else's shit, like I told you earlier, I'm very concerned with the way this industry is going and the conversations they have. So I try to avoid all the bullshit. And I like having real conversation with real people, and this was one of those ones. And I appreciate you greatly.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, man.
Orlando, sign us off. This is the Danza Project, baby.
Yes, sir.